presence matters. Your presence matters. Once again, I only welcome you all on the forefront getting honest and productive discussions. Thank you very much. Alright, so I'm going to decide to talk about chairman today. So that means that the next item on the agenda is the chairman to open remarks. So I can tell from the slide we come out with it in the form. He also began industrial design from Olumide University of Zaria, certificated management from Swedish Institute of Management in Chief Executive Program of the Lagos Business School, LBS. He worked in communication from March 1984 to 1989, where he left as the Deputy Creative Director at Udeme Series in 1989, available as Creative Director. 6 months later, he co-founded Afolayan in 1990, while one of Nigeria's leading marketing communication groups with a strong representation of some reputation for professionalism and creativity, where he is currently Group Managing Director. At Afolayan, the director contributes to policy, formulation, and management. He has held several executive positions in the Association of Advertising Agencies in Nigeria, including Vice President and President in 1997 and 1999, respectively. He serves as Board Chairman of the Policy Innovation Center and Board Member of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Nigeria's leading board public-private sector economic think tank, where he chairs the Board Communications and Media Subcommittee. May I please ask once again that we all use our leading voices while we are communicating with each other, please. Thank you. He is also private sector co-chairman of the Policy Commission on Tourism, Hospitality, Entertainment, Creative Industries, and Sports of the NESG. He is a mentor to many young practitioners and lecturers in various industry training programs, as well as taking classes in advertising at the School of Media and Communications, PAU, where he is also chairman of the Advisory Board. He is a past president of the Lagos Business School and Alumni Association, past chairman of the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, past board chair of Leap Africa, Nigeria's leading non-profit for development of leadership and enterprise skills amongst youth in Africa, as well as a member of the Board of Special Olympics Nigeria. In recognition of his services to the nation in the corporate sector, he was awarded member of the Order of the Federal Republic, MFR, in 2014 by the federal government of Nigeria. He is married to Udeme, Ufot, and their parents to Iyanda and Nigeria. A round of applause to him, please. Thank you. saying that when you see a baby window, something in the forest, that will not stand firm because there are lots of small cues surrounding the robot to give it strength and protection from the sun, protection from rainstorm.
Compelling stories that cross borders. Our designers and visual artists reinterpret the African heritage for the world stage, and our content creators are shaping digital narratives that influence millions daily. Yet, despite this abundance of talent and undeniable economic value of creativity, we face a persistent challenge, that is financing. The theme of this summit, financing as catalyst for a thriving creative economy, is therefore not only timely, but necessary. Because without access to sustainable and strategic funding, creativity struggles to scale. Ideas remain trapped in notebooks. Studios shut down. Talent goes on. And potential remains just that, potential. Capital is required to unlock the potentials of our creative economy. And that capital must be made available and accessible to creative entrepreneurs to not only launch their enterprises, but to scale to levels where they can enjoy must be responsive, flexible, and intentional. It must be designed not merely to support consumption, but to enable production, distribution, and protection of the creative output. This is not just about throwing money at the industry. It's about smart financing. It's about investors who understand the long tail of content development, banks willing to develop products tailored for creative entrepreneurs, government designing policy environments that reward innovation and risk-taking, and of course, private sector leaders championing scalable, locally relevant business models. It's also about data. We need a stronger evidence base to inform decisions and demonstrate the social and economic impact of the creative economy. We need to measure value, not just in terms of box office numbers or streaming statistics, but in terms of job creation, export growth, community engagement, and cultural preservation. As a creative industry stakeholder myself, I understand the roadblocks, but I also see immense opportunity. Many may not know that when I was starting S1U, I spent a full day in the bank trying to get 500,000 naira out of the bank. A full day. The bank manager would not even see me, and I refused to leave. But you know what? 2 years after, the same bank came with a delegation of 5 people to come and beg me that my account has not been operating. And I told them that I may not know where I will bank, but I know where I will not bank. Tit for tat. You know, they all wait for you to succeed, then they come running to your doorstep. So as a creative industry stakeholder myself, I understand the roadblocks, but I also see immense opportunity. And I know that when we get it right, when the ideas meet the funding, and when meet the investors, when policy meets purpose, magic happens. To truly optimize their potential, creative entrepreneurs must invest in personal development. And it's very, very important, please, because getting money can be tough. How you use the money is the other issue. And I've gone through it. They must invest in basic financial literacy and understand the basic rules of business management. When you listen to my CV, I've done 2 business courses. Swedish History of Management, the LBS, and several programs thereafter to keep updating, keep upgrading. You need to know how to manage. Because I do warn you that someone could give you 10 billion naira and you could blow it and run up cost of 12 billion naira. That means a loss of 2 billion. You must understand how to manage money and manage business. I think creative entrepreneurs need to evolve from being craftsmen to being businessmen and women. Getting money from investors or from financial institutions implies risk. Creative entrepreneurs must give their financial backers the confidence that funding made available to them is in safe hands. This summit, therefore, offers us a unique opportunity to have the right conversations with the right people in the room. Policymakers, financiers, media leaders, creators, and visionaries. I urge us to approach this dialogue not as an academic exercise, but as a strategic imperative. Let us ask difficult questions. How do we de-risk investment in the creative sector? What models of financing are working in other African or global markets? And what can we learn? How do we protect intellectual property in the digital age? What role or roles can cooperatives, equity funding, crowdfunding, and digital banking play in the ecosystem? How do we ensure that the next generation of creatives have access to the tools, skills, and the capital they need to thrive? As chairman of today's summit, I believe we must not only talk about the challenges, we must commit to action. Whether through the creation of an industry-wide creative investment fund, improved policy frameworks, or a collaborative task force to continue the conversation beyond this room, we must walk away from today with a shared responsibility. I'm particularly encouraged by the quality of minds represented here today. Nigeria is not short of talent nor vision. What we must do now is to ensure that the ecosystem around that talent is equipped, structured, and empowered to support long-term growth. Let me close with this thought. Creativity is more than entertainment. It is identity, it is influence, and it is industry. If we truly wish to diversify Nigeria's economy and empower our youth, then investing in creativity is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It's a low-hanging fruit. A low-hanging fruit that can transform our bulging youth demographics into a great national asset. Thank you once again to QEDNG and the entire organizing team for this honor. I look forward to the conversations, insights, and solutions that will emerge today, and more importantly, to the collective actions we will take afterwards. Let us rise to the challenge. Let us invest in our creative future. And let us build an economy that not only consumes creativity, but champions and exports it. Thank you. I wish you all a productive summit. God bless you all.
Another round of applause for Mr. Udeme Ufot, MFR. Truly, the creative industry is a powerhouse. But as a creative myself, and having lived through, I think, 4 or 5 careers in the creative industry, I do have a structured background. Actually, I have a first degree in architecture, so I did work in the corporate industry. But you see that straight jacket that they put you in. You know they work for creative people, and that's why we struggle with structure. When they say structure, data, processes, financial literacy, it's like our brain just shuts down. But we can't, and I emphasize, you cannot be in the creative industry and not understand financial literacy, data. You cannot. It is vital to our growth. And as you see, children are making, and I say that with all respect, they're making money off TikTok. What my parents will probably never have understood. People in my generation are struggling with TikTok. I mean, we've barely conquered Facebook, talk less of Instagram, then, TikTok, something is coming up. But these children are sitting at home and they're making money using their phone. Technology is also another thing people in my age range battle with. Can I answer the phone? Can I send text message? Do I really need to do anything else? But we buy the latest phones and then we can't use them. Moving on. So the next item on our agenda is the address from our keynote speaker. And our keynote speaker is Dr. Nkiru Balonwu. I am going to read her bio very quickly. Dr. Nkiru Balonwu is the founder of the Africa Soft Power Group, the umbrella company for 3 organizations with mutual objectives: the Africa Soft Power Project, ASP Global, and African Women on Board. Prior to her work with the ASP Group, Nkiru was CEO of Spinlet, which at the time was Africa's largest music streaming app with 2 million plus subscribers. She holds a doctorate from the University of California, Berkeley, master's from University College London, and a law degree from the University of Manchester, and has been called to the bar in England, Nigeria, and New York. Nkiru was a... Yes, please, clap again. just a minute, please. Nkiru was a senior fellow from 2022 to 2023 at the Musavar Rahmani Center for Business and Government, Harvard Kennedy School, where she focused on the role of the private sector in influencing and constructing gender policy in Africa. In 2019, she received the Powerlist UK Black Excellence International Award in recognition of her innovative work with African women on board. And in 2022, she was listed among New African Magazine's top 100 most influential Africans. Please give a round of applause to Dr. Nkiru Balonwu, the founder of the Africa Soft Power Group. May I also please implore you once again, thank you, ma'am, to please, you can converse, but please, bedroom voices. Thank you. Oh, you have a mic. Oh, fantastic. For those recording for you, no, it's okay. Unless there's something that they should be working on so we can hear you. Can she test that again, please? No, so. It's okay.
I come and remove all the things.
No, don't leave it. It's for their own recording.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Oh, no vex. Don't be angry, please. I apologize. As a true Nigerian, I came with my cards and technology. If NEPA fails, we move to this. So we're good. Good morning, everybody. It's actually still morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really, really excited to be here. And thank you to Olumide, Iyanda, and the mighty Media Plus team for this kind invitation and for bringing us together for this timely and necessary conversation. Today, I'm speaking about unlocking the full potential of the creative economy through ecosystem thinking. So I tweaked my own topic a little bit. Even though Mr. Chairman, I'm going to speak to some of the things you've already spoken to. So when you were speaking, I was like, he said all of it all. So in case it sounds repetitive, it just means that these are the core issues. My speech today is more a patchwork of ideas than a single thread. And it's been stitched together from experience, conversations, observations, and reflections on what it really takes to make a creative economy thrive. Financing is certainly part of the story. It's a key part of the story. But the real magic happens when we connect the dots, when capital meets talent, infrastructure meets innovation, and policy meets partnerships. This is a vast and evolving subject. And while I'll inevitably leave out many important points, both because of time and because no single speech could capture them all, I hope that what we do cover today inspires new thinking and new connections. I'll keep it short, just about an hour. That's what Olumide said I had. Sorry, I'll only be about 20 minutes, don't worry. I'm just kidding. I won't do an hour. But I want to begin with a personal what if. Very, very many years ago, I led a company called Spinlet. It was the first indigenous music streaming and digital infrastructure distribution platform in sub-Saharan Africa. And during my time as CEO, we achieved pretty significant milestones, including becoming Nigeria's first international standard recording code manager and growing to over 2 million subscribers at our peak. We had a lot of things going for us. If you remember, I don't know who remembers Spinlet in the room, but we actually were the cool kids in the room, or in any group. We had the vision, we had talent, and we had early mover advantage. But we lacked the critical elements that transform brilliant ideas into resilient institutions. And I mean adequate structured financing and robust infrastructure. So now imagine today if Spinlet were still here, exporting African music and building generational IP wealth for our artists. That missed opportunity shows that talent is never the issue. What's often missing is structured belief, that is, policy support, patient capital, and solid technical infrastructure. And I think the chairman spoke about quite a few of those. This experience shapes the core of my message today. When we talk about financing as catalysts, we must look beyond surface level investments and commit to building an entire system, a system with enabling conditions that allow our creatives to not just survive, which most of us are just doing, we're just surviving, but allows creators to thrive and scale. The creative economy is both expression and enterprise. It already contributes significantly to Nigeria's GDP and soft power, yet it lacks scalable, predictable investment frameworks. Nigerian music dominates global charts. Our films stream on international platforms. And I'll tell a quick story. When I was in California, people found my name was Nkiru. They would actually ask for my autograph because they thought I was Nkiru from one of the Nollywood movies. So all the Africans would come to me, oh, Nkiru, Nkiru. And I'm like, no, I'm actually just Nkiru Balonwu. I'm not that Nkiru. So our designers feature on global runways, and our creators shape global digital culture. But at home, we still treat these industries as hobbies. There are few institutional investors in the space, and the financing that does exist is fragmented, often focused on sponsorships, one-off grants, or brand-driven support. That's just really all the money we get in the space. We celebrate global success, where we have not yet built the local systems to replicate that success at scale. When Burner or Rima sell out iconic global venues, it is a cultural victory, a clear, unambiguous market signal, and proof of concept. It tells any smart investor that there is a high-quality product, a dedicated global audience willing to pay premium prices, and a scalable business model. We are falling short in connecting the dots by not translating that undeniable success into compelling investment case for Nigeria's broader creative ecosystem. The challenge, I think, is not the absence of capital, but the lack of scalable, structured investment frameworks that the industry needs to thrive. Afrexim, and I'm sure many of you know Afrexim, Afrexim's $1 billion Africa Film Fund, announced in May under its CANEX program, is a significant and welcome step. But to reach its full potential, it must be matched with robust implementation and industry-wide alignment. At the national level, interventions like the BOI's creative sector funds are equally important. But again, the capital exists in theory. The real gaps lie in design, accessibility, and the alignment with practical needs of entrepreneurs. But we also have to be honest about the mismatch. These funds serve large-scale projects. These funds often serve large-scale projects, while most creatives in Nigeria are operating at micro or early growth levels. How many creatives are positioned to absorb a multi-million-dollar ticket? How many? The reality is that our ecosystem also needs accessible, smaller-scale funding that turns an idea into a viable business. You know, when they're looking for investing, they're like, oh, $5 million, $20 million. Sometimes all we need is $250,000. And that we will just do magic with. And it's just connecting that dot that's really important. So, part of what we need is targeted financing that spans early stage grants, seed capital, mezzanine funding, and patient equity, all tailored to the creative life cycle. We need financing designed for the messy middle, not just the glamorous headline project or the polished final product. If we want to see scale in Nigeria, we need long-term financing, not just for content, but for the very boring, unsexy infrastructure. IP banks, data centers, legal support, domestic distribution networks, rights management platforms, efficient payment systems, insurance products for creatives, affordable production facilities, talent development pipelines, and so on. And this brings me to a necessary mindset shift. It is time for our creatives to see themselves not just as artists, but as business people, and I think Chairman talked about that, institution builders, and financially literate architects of enterprise. And I think you mentioned financial literacy as a core thing. The question is no longer just, how do we build the next great platform? The more urgent question is, what are the structures that make a platform sustainable in Nigeria? This leads me directly to my next point. The critical importance of building ecosystems over silos. Our creative industry cannot and will not achieve its full potential through isolated success stories. A few global superstars are a source of national pride, but a thriving, interconnected ecosystem is a source of national wealth. And before I go further, I want to acknowledge a fundamental truth of doing business in our environment. Building a business here in Nigeria is uniquely challenging. You often set out to build one thing, but you very, very quickly realize that the pillars necessary to support your venture don't actually exist. And wahala dey. This means you have the pioneer's disadvantage. It forces many, many entrepreneurs to split resources between their core products and constructing the very market conditions that should already be in place. Which is why many of us fail. It's actually why Spinlet failed. And many continue to do so today. Because we don't have the ecosystem, we don't have the infrastructure. So you are really the chief of everything. The chief everything officer. Banker, accountant, NEPA, water, everything, you will do it by yourself, nothing. So that's a key issue for us here in the country. So when I talk about ecosystems over silos, I'm calling for conscious, collaborative effort to build these missing pillars together. It means actively linking creatives to capital, policy to platforms, and education to opportunity. It means policymakers taking the time to understand, and there's quite a few policymakers in the room that I've spotted, taking the time to understand new digital distribution models. It means bankers learning how to properly conduct IP valuation. It means investors looking beyond the glamour of entertainment and recognizing the solid fundamentals of a well-run creative enterprise. And I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about some of my own work. One of the most powerful ways to turn creativity into economic power is by bringing the right people together, such as in this room. Creatives, investors, policymakers, and industry leaders. That's why I built Africa Soft Power, a platform for Africa's creative and knowledge economies focused on connecting both established and emerging voices from across the continent and diaspora. And it's not just about talking, it's about forging partnerships, unlocking investment, and setting strategies that turn great ideas into scalable businesses. In today's world, where ideas are currency and ASB is working to ensure Africa's creative capital delivers long-term economic returns and strengthens the continent's place in the global economy. So if you're around in May next year, May 2026, we're going to be in Nairobi, so join us. Back to ecosystem over silos. This also means expanding our very definition of creative industries. For too long, the spotlight has been focused almost exclusively on music and film, and I know that music and film people want to have that focus. But what about Nigeria's fashion industry? How about hair and beauty? And people get upset when I say that. But the hair and beauty industry is one of the most phenomenal, largest industry on the continent and in Nigeria. Just look around the room and look at what we're doing. Makeup. TikTok is all about makeup. Like literally bombardment, makeup. This is art. It's the definition of creative industry that's really important. Look at it. 2-year-old girls, 7-year-old grandmothers, they're all wearing hair. They're all wearing makeup. Most of us, before we came, we had a makeup artist. That's like 100,000 naira, something like that. This is core, but we're not taking it seriously. Recognizing this not only underscores its economic value, but highlights why robust data, which you talked about, is essential. We need to treat the full spectrum of our cultural production as economically valuable, and we need to design financing, information, and support systems for them accordingly. To support them, we must move from personality-driven narratives to systems thinking. This means tackling the deep structural gaps in our market head-on. We must ask who is training the next generation of creatives to read a term sheet, to understand equity dilution, or to negotiate an IP licensing deal. Are we leaving them to learn these very expensive lessons through trial and error? We need accessible, practical programs, not just one-off workshops, but sustained mentorship that bridges the gap between creative talent and financial acumen. On the other hand, who is guiding our investors? How do we help a fund manager who is used to predictable asset-backed businesses to properly assess the value of a creative enterprise? The risk profile of a creative project is entirely different from that of a real estate development. We need to cultivate a class of investors who understand the economics of creative production, who can value intangible assets like brand loyalty and audience engagement, and who see the long-term potential in building cultural legacy. And this is where data becomes the foundation for everything. An investor's confidence grows when a pitch is backed by more than just passion. We need clear, reliable data that provides visibility into what's actually working. What are the audience demographics for a new web series? Do we know? What's the nature of Nigeria's diaspora market? A market that is actually beyond some of the current content access problems we have in Nigeria. We need an open dashboard that tracks box office, streaming payouts, fashion, export receipts, wedding, event spend, and more. In fact, some of the biggest creative endeavors that people don't talk about that actually brings money is actually fashion and wedding dresses. People from Yankee and Jan come to Nigeria to shop for their wedding dresses. And remember that weddings are a big deal. So imagine the whole ecosystem of that if we counted those things in. And I moved to Dirty December, take it as an example. According to Lagos State, this single festive season generated billions in revenue, attracted thousands of international visitors, and triggered a surge in hospitality, retail, and event-related jobs. In many parts of the world, entire economies are built on such cultural activities from Rio Carnival to Edinburgh Festival with consistent, reliable data used to drive policy, investment, and infrastructure development. Without similar year-round, and it has to be year-round, measurement in Nigeria, we risk underestimating and under-leveraging one of our most dynamic sources of economic power. And I think about, it brings me the Calabar Carnival to mind. That is one of the most important things we've done in our ecosystem in Nigeria. But we haven't actually taken it seriously. We haven't invested in it. And I think these are critical conversations for us to be having. Building this ecosystem is a shared responsibility. Again, the chairman talked about government, private sector, and the creative sector having to work together. It requires a powerful partnership between the three. First, we must be clear-eyed about the role of the state in driving and supporting innovation. Silicon Valley did not just spring out of the California desert by magic. It was shaped by decades of pro-tech state policies, massive federal research funding, and a legal framework that protected innovation. South Korea, their current cultural dominance was not by accident. It was seeded by the government's deliberate long-term investment strategy in K-pop and film. We also need policies that de-risk creative investment, tax credits for content production, export guarantees, IP protections that are easy to enforce, and seed funding for creative hubs across the country, not just in Lagos, in Aba, in Kano, in Onitsha. We need to have access to those places. The ecosystem needs to be connected. With targeted investment in infrastructure, finance, and formalized networks, they could anchor a more diverse, export-ready creative sector. The government must also support standards. We can't be competing globally with fragmented regulations and no shared data on creative output. Second, private capital, and I'm almost done very soon, private capital must get smarter about the creative industry and see it for what it is, a core driver of Nigeria's service economy. Getting smarter means moving financing beyond one-off movie projects and instead building diversified portfolios of creative assets. It means creating specialized venture funds with expertise to value IP and audience engagement. It means seeing our creative entrepreneurs not as grantees and people you're doing a favor, but as partners in building high-growth businesses. And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, the creative sector must look inward. For example, one of the greatest missed opportunities in Nigeria is the disconnect between our strongest cultural exports, music and film. Afrobeats has gone global. Nollywood has massive local and diaspora appeal. But these industries often operate in parallel rather than as partners. In the US, Hollywood and the music industry are tightly linked. In South Korea, K-pop and K-dramas are synchronized to build national brand equity. Historically, if you all remember, films have been powerful platforms for launching and amplifying music careers. A deliberate symbiotic relationship between the two industries could unlock exponential growth for both. Beyond music, there is scope to integrate costume designers, stylists, and other creatives, forging valuable cross-sector connections with Nigeria's fashion industry, for example. The combined storytelling power of these sectors positions Nigeria as a cultural superpower with greater visibility, higher export revenue, stronger bargaining power, talent retention, and cultural ownership. I think it's like, think about it, it is much better to have 10% of 100 than 100% of 0. That's sort of thinking around that collaboration. And as we're talking about looking inwards, one of the most important things that I learned from my time as Spinless CEO was recognizing that ambition in Nigeria is often deeply local. For the majority of Nigerians, the aspiration is not to emigrate. It is to earn, spend, and build wealth here. Nobody wants to go to Canada where nobody knows them. Where are you going to do your FEZ? It has to be here. And that's why we have to focus on the market here. This is much a major economic opportunity, social observation. The kids, when I was at Spinlet, they were not looking for Chris Brown. They wanted like Wizkid. They wanted to be the cool Lagos boys. It was not people in America that were stripping them. It was us. And us is bigger if we take ourselves seriously. If we get the fundamentals right, the Nigerian market alone will be large enough for millions to sustain livelihoods, grow businesses, and create jobs. And as I come to an end, it's impossible to discuss the creative economy without acknowledging the disruptive force of artificial intelligence. I can't, not say anything about that. And the speed of its evolution. DeepSeek's open weight model reportedly trained for around $6 million. This illustrates how quickly frontier capability is becoming more affordable and how barriers to entry are being reshaped. And even more striking, if you remember the backdrop that this DeepSeek thing was played over the backdrop of Sam Altman talking about India being hopeless, that it was hopeless for India to ever reach ChatGPT, OpenAI. And then 2 seconds, we're seeing DeepSeek, $6 million. I mean, quite a number of people have, millions of dollars in Nigeria. So we can actually focus inward if we actually had the right fundamentals. Of course, understandably, for creatives everywhere, AI is both a challenge and an opportunity. And Nigeria is not an exception. While the concerns about originality, ethics, and livelihoods are valid, AI could be the very tool that allows us to leapfrog and monetize our cultural assets globally. If financing is designed with this in mind, not just funding content, but also the tools, training, and infrastructure to integrate AI, Nigeria's creative industries could position themselves not just to participate in the AI era, but to lead it. And this is hopeful because just a few months ago, Sam Altman has gone on record to say that he thinks India is actually going to be an AI leader. And I don't pretend to have all the answers or any answers actually, but I do know that ignoring this shift will be a mistake. If we want to future-proof the sector, AI has to be part of the ecosystem conversation from start. And finally, as I conclude, my very long, only 20 minutes, my call to action for everyone in this room is simple. Collaborate. The next frontier of growth is not in competing for the very small slice of pie, but in working together to make the entire pie bigger. And when it's bigger for everybody. We all get more. Thank you very much for listening.
I don't know who Thank you, Dr. Nkiru Balonwu. Collaboration. To collaborate, you need trust. Nigerians seem to struggle with trust. But you can't trust somebody or something if you don't try it out. Failure is part of success. You've got to fail to pass. So, 3 things she mentioned. Mr. Ufot also mentioned the same thing. Government, private sector, and the creative sector. We have to work together. We have to work together. Nobody cooks a pot of soup with only water. and you don't see the ingredients fighting in the pot. What is also important is financial literacy, technology, and data. We have got to incorporate all these. Nigeria is an amazing place. I've worked as a dressmaker for most of my life, and it wasn't something that I studied. I've also worked as a makeup artist and a gele tire. So I'm deeply entrenched in the creative sector. And it has grown in leaps and bounds. But if we don't take these 6 things and make them all work together, now here we go there. And it goes beyond talk. Yes, I know. It goes beyond talk. We come for all these things, you know, there are notepads in front of us. I'm not sure that anybody has written anything down. Half of the time we're busy on our phones, which is a good thing. But what do we take away? We need, if each person takes away one thing and implements it, when we come back in a year, the growth will be astronomical. I like to talk, but I'm not the focus. So let me do a bit of housekeeping here. Would like to recognize our sponsors: First Bank of Nigeria, Providence Bank, NLNG, Shell, and Polaris Bank. I would also like to do, just before I call on the guest of honor to speak, I would also like to do quick recognitions. I'm just going to call your names. You can just raise a hand. I'm not going to put any designations behind you so that I can do this quickly. Kunle Afolayan, Chairman and members of the Organizing Committee of QEDNG, all editors and members of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, representative of First Bank, and a panelist, Dr. Abiodun Famuyiwa, Benga Ogunleye, former editor of Punch, etc., members of the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers, led by President Mrs. Maureen Chibo, Mrs. Ajoke Silva, Duke of Shomolu, Judge Joseph Edgar, I beg your pardon, Executive Director, National Video Census Board, Dr. Shuaibu Husseini, Mr. Rashid Bolarinwa, spokesperson of Polaris Bank, Yemi Shodimu, Bimbo Manuel, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, she's ably represented by Aniele Chuka Silvanus, and the wife and children of the convener, the Iyandas. All right, so let's quickly move on to our special guest of honor, who's going to give his goodwill speech, is Mr. Temitope Ajayi, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity. A round of applause for him, please.
Thank you, everyone. Well, I came here as a participant, so I don't know the special guest of honor part. Since I have been conscripted to do this, I want to commend the convener of this summit, Mr. Olumide Iyanda, and the publisher of QEDNG. The fact that we have this hall filled to capacity on the first edition of this summit speaks to the kind of person Mr. Olumide Iyanda is. So, from the big man inside the rock in Abuja, he said I should extend his goodwill message to you and to assure you that the government will continue to support the creative sector, and that is why under this administration, a whole ministry was created to cater for the interest of this sector. So on policy level, the government is doing what it needs to do to make sure that the sector continues to grow in leaps and bounds. Now, we are talking about financing as a catalyst for a thriving creative industry. We need financing for almost every sector. It goes beyond creative industry. So manufacturing needs financing, advertising needs financing, construction need financing, oil and gas, and all the big sectors. But we know in terms of promoting the cultural export of Nigeria, the creative sector in the past decades has really done so well. So we must commend the operators of this sector for a good job all of you are doing. And I want to salute my boss, Udeme. Is a great, my boss, Udeme, is a great man. So it's not my friend. For those of you who may not know, I work for him and with him for 3 years as head of media and public relations for SOU Group. So I'm happy to see you again, sir. So before I take my seat, speaking on the keynote speaker and the chairman in their address spoke about collaboration, building ecosystem, and also understanding the numbers for the creative sector to thrive. And I'm going to say this. About 10 years ago, I had a breakfast meeting with Mr. Afolayan, the co-founder of GT Bank. And he was talking about creative industry because, of course, you know, Fola and late Iyanda, they are particularly invested in the art and culture and the creative industry. So he shared his personal experience with me on what he has been doing or to support this sector. And like the keynote speaker said, no industry really can thrive without collaboration. And he made a very good example. It's better to own 2% or 10% of a thriving enterprise than to own 100% of nothing. And I think one message you need to take away from this summit is the fact that they must grow beyond subsistence thinking. And I think that's a major problem the actors and operators of the industry have not really understood or they don't know that they need to address. So, pivoting back to what Mr. Adeola said, about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and the DG of Census Bodies here, I think the entire cinema screens we have in Nigeria probably wasn't up to 100. Maybe in Lagos, it wasn't up to 20. So, Fola Adeola, about 15 years ago, wanted to invest in cinema. So one of the actors in this industry came to him with a proposal. And like he told me that it was like preaching to a choir, that he didn't spend 10 minutes before he bought the idea to invest $10 million. So put the money down. Keynote speaker said, Mr. Adeola, okay, I'm going to invest $10 million. I'm going to take 80% of the business. You will take 20%. Yes? And the guy said, I know, Dr. Husseini knows the person, so I don't want to mention his name. Some of you will know him. They were dragging him for more than 2 months. I said, I'm going to put $10 million on your idea. The guy said, no, it has to be, it must be 60-40. Mr. Adeola asked him, 60-40 of what? He said, his idea. Mr. Adeola told him that your idea worth nothing. I can quantify $10 million, but I can't quantify your idea. For your idea to kick off, if it be viable at all, I have to give you this money for us to even understand the viability of your idea. And he now told him that if I put $10 million and after 6 months or 12 months down the line, your idea is not viable, I will have lost $10 million. But he said he spoke with the guy. He spoke to some of his friends that take this offer and let us bet on it and see what is possible with your idea. The guy didn't take it. Then they shook hands. And after 6 months of going back and forth, and he told me that, Tope, do you know that 15 years up till now, that idea with him is still with him and buried. So, oftentimes, financing for any opportunity, whether in the creative industry or any sector, oftentimes there are always people who are willing to take a bet. Yes. And I think the lesson is we put my head and be willing to take a chance on those who have shown interest to fund our ideas. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Ooh, somebody's microphone. The young lady that wanted to collect a mic, where is she? All right, moving on sharply. Okay, so I know that when you all come for summits or conferences, you're already prepared that there's a lot of talk, right? So bear with us. We started just a few minutes behind schedule, but we're running quite well, and hopefully we'll be done at 2 or before that, because we have 2 panels that are going to sit, and we're going to start with the first one right away. Mr. Iyanda, do you want me to wait for you? Just a minute, please. You're welcome, sir. All right, so they say you all need some entertainment. I don't know why. I mean, we're the creative industry. Do we not already have entertainment? We are now, eh? But okay. So let's give you what you want. We're the listening people. Are we not a listening people? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, sir, for that. Yes. All right, so we're going to have a bit of entertainment. There's a troupe that is going to perform right now. Please, just because there's going to be music and dancing does not mean that we should not pay attention. We should still please do bedroom voice. So the cultural performance is by the Arts Niger Performing Troupe, as you can see. Very creative indeed. So enjoy. Please give them a round of applause as they are coming in. Thank you.
thing, one performance, then boom, hearts change, minds are open. Really?
Yes. And you know, nothing moves people like dance. Nothing moves people like dance. As they say, action speaks louder than words. Just one spin, just one step, and the crowd is yours.
What about the power of visual art? Who thinks it can speak? Who walks and music? My bro! Great movement! Without even moving!
Yes! Why now? Music don't land. Why not they argue for you? Who gives you rhythms? Who makes you clap? And who makes you dance? Music carries your words. It lifts your dance and paints your emotions.
So are you now saying that only music matters?
No, my brother.
Then what?
What I'm saying is that together we can be strong.
Then let's stop talking and show them creativity power.
Please give them another round of applause. For those that studied theater arts, this is your forte. I don't know how many of you can still do it, Sha. Me, I'm a chair dancer. I love to dance on my chair. You cannot see me dancing on my feet. All right, so we've had our entertainment. So that means we're going to sit through 2 engaging panels, one right after the other. So let's not waste any more time. The first panel, Funding Creativity. The moderator of this panel is Anike-Ade Funke Treasure. So I'm going to ask her to please come up to the podium while I read her citation. Anike-Ade Funke Treasure Akintoye is a multiple award-winning, multi-genre media personality in Nigeria. A well-sought-after media trainer. May I please have bedroom voices both inside and outside? Thank you so much. A well-sought-after media trainer, conference facilitator, moderator, speaker, panelist, media analyst, and compere across Nigeria and West Africa. She has mentored scores of broadcasters and journalists in Nigeria, Liberia, Burkina Faso, in partnership with leading media capacity and development organizations. A writer and thought leader in broadcasting, she is an author of 3 books, an award-winning campaigner for women and the girl child with a focus on menstrual health, sexual and gender-based violence, sports, and governance. In February 2023, she passed the Evidence of Public Policy online course at Oxford University's Blatt-Vinnick School of Government with distinctions. Her research interests are in the interrelatedness of media health, public policy, and governance with sustainable development. She is a co-host of A Place at the Table, the Soar Away current affairs show on News Central TV, and the host of My Period Stories, a podcast on menstrual health, airing presently on Africa Magic Family across Sub-Saharan Africa. I present Anike-Ade Funke Treasure Akintoye. She's the moderator for this panel. Next, as a panelist, Kunle Afolayan. Kunle Afolayan is a filmmaker, cultural entrepreneur, and heritage promoter. He is an award-winning Nigerian filmmaker and officer of the Order of the Niger OON, whose work has redefined, please feel free to clap, whose work has redefined African cinema and elevated Nigeria's cultural and tourism landscape. Please, once again, if you must converse, please use your bedroom voices. Thank you. As founder of Cap Film Village and Resort, one of the most prominent creative and tourism integrated film destinations in Nigeria, he has built an ecosystem where storytelling, heritage, and tourism converge. Through landmark films like Anikulapo, October 1, Figurine, Ijogmo, etc., Kunle blends myth, history, and contemporary issues to promote authentic African narratives globally. His films have premiered on global platforms, won international awards, and sparked important cultural conversations. A juror of both the Academy Awards and the International Emmys, he is also the visionary behind Cap Motion Pictures, Cap Hub, Cap Film and TV Academy, and Afolayan Restaurant. Hey, you know, forgive me, sometimes my English overpowers my Yoruba. I'm from Lagos State. Not an excuse, but you know that Lagosians can't speak Yoruba. Yeah. We can't, really? Okay. Auntie Joke, I stand corrected. All right. All of which contribute to a thriving, self-sustaining creative ecosystem. With collaboration from Netflix, UNESCO, MasterCard Foundation, and others, he continues to empower local talent, foster Pan-African collaboration, and position Nigeria, especially the Southwest, as a cultural and cinematic tourism hub. His work remains a It's a beacon, I beg your pardon. His work remains a beacon for Africa's creative and heritage-led development. Kunle Afolayan. Next up is Mike Dada. Mike Dada is a multi-skilled consultant and entrepreneur in the field of marketing, strategic public relations, advertising, chemical engineering, tech, brand communication, and management, law, finance, event production, media, and culture, who is unapologetically passionate about the perception, growth, promotion, and development of Africa through the instrumentality of culture and the creative industry. As a lawyer and serial entrepreneur, Mike superintends many organizations. Sorry, Mr. Mike, but I'm unfortunately going to have to cut some of this short. He's responsible for the development of Plan of Action of Culture and Creative Industries document that was approved by the Head of State Summit in 2023. He is a fellow of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria, member of the Chartered Institute of Public Relations UK and Chartered Institute of Marketing UK, and also the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Mike is an alumnus of Lagos Business School, Harvard Business School, Boston, Massachusetts, amongst others. He loves to read and play the game of squash. Mike Dada. Joseph Edgar. Is he still in the hall? He is? All right, sir. Fantastic. He's popularly known as the Duke of Shomolu. Is an accomplished investment banker, prolific author, and one of Nigeria's most influential theater producers, with an illustrious career spanning over 22 years in investment banking and another 7 years dedicated to producing some of the country's most engaging stage productions. Edgar has seamlessly blended finance with the arts, building an extensive network of over 10,000 high-profile contacts across diverse sectors. Beyond his accomplishments in finance, Joseph Edgar has made an indelible mark in Nigeria's creative industry. As the founder of Duke of Shomolu Productions, he has produced some of the country's most compelling stage plays over the last 6 years. His production has been seen by over 200,000 people across major cities, including Lagos, Abeokuta, Benin, Warri, Uyo, and Abuja. His dynamic career is a testament to his adaptability, leadership, and ability to inspire. Whether in the boardroom, on stage, or through his writings, he remains a force of influence, shaping narratives and driving impactful change across Nigeria and beyond. Joseph Edgar. And we have one more person on this panel, Mary Ephraim Egbas. Did I pronounce your surname correctly? Is she here? Egbas. Thank you, sir. Forgive me, apologies for that. Let me quickly go through her citation. Yeah. Mary Ephraim Egbas is a seasoned film executive and strategic leader with over 21 years of experience in Africa's film and distribution industry. A pioneer in the advancement of film business strategy across the continent, Mary has worked at the forefront of film marketing, content distribution, and industry development, shaping the future of African cinema both locally and globally. As CEO of Okma Global, she leads one of the continent's most dynamic strategy and marketing consultancies with deep roots in film and media sectors. Through Okma, she has successfully led film-related campaigns, structured film financing activations, and championed distribution reforms that support both emerging and established filmmakers. She's the secretary of the Film Distribution of Nigeria and has been instrumental in building cross-border distribution networks, supporting policy frameworks, and providing mentorship to hundreds of young industry talents through direct training, consulting, and events. She's also the founder and convener of the Africa Film Finance Forum, a flagship platform designed to bridge the financing gap in African storytelling. With her deep understanding of African film value chain from production to policy, marketing, and international distribution, Mary is uniquely positioned to lead impactful training and mentorship programs. Her passion lies in equipping emerging filmmakers, especially women and youth, with the knowledge, tools, and networks they need to succeed in competitive global marketplace. Mary Ephraim Egbas. All right, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ayemi. Are we going to have more mics? Okay. Right, while that's going on, I'd like to say that it's only mighty that can bring these mighty people into one hall. Please, can we appreciate mighty and our creative selves as well? No, we can make it more robust. Let's do this. Let's do this. Having said that, the chairman of the occasion and the keynote speaker have pretty much laid the foundation, maybe background, to this conversation. So we've had 3 monologues. Now we're settling in for a conversation. And for me, they pretty much punched everything. I was initially writing so furiously, and then I said to myself, stop writing, just listen. Because they were sharing gems, which I would also be drawing on as I ask our distinguished panelists here the questions. But I'd like to first say that I'm in good company already. I have the heavyweights in the Nigerian creative industry here. When I got news of me moderating this panel and having these distinguished creatives on the panel, the very first thing I thought was, I can't wait to hear their stories, because they're all heavyweights in the industry. Can we appreciate them again? Robust, powerful panel, heavyweights in films, music, theater, and film distribution, all of them powerhouses, making great things happen in the creative industry. Let's quickly respond to the keynote address by Dr. Balonwu. Kunle, let me start with you. She said so much. Pioneer advantage and disadvantage, the messy middle, so many things that she punched on. AI. What resonated with you mostly in our speech?
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, I listened to Nkiru, and while she was talking, I could resonate with a lot of things she was saying, because I actually worked with Spinet when Spinet started. As a matter of fact, we were one of the first set of people, and we were privileged to have shot the very popular Victor Olaiya Two-Face video, and that was commissioned by Spinlet, and Golden Effect produced, and I directed it. So, yeah, thank you. And while she was talking about, the collaboration side of things, for me, and I was whispering to a friend, and I said, look, you need to be careful at the same time. For some of us who are driven by passion, but at the same time, we're very mindful of the fact that for you to keep the art and creativity going, the business side must also, be well thought out. And in 2011, so I'll just cite this example, we have just made Irapada and the figurine, and we wanted to, it was time to jump on the next project, and we got approached by some people, and they have funds, and they said, look, we've been trying to do stuff, this is an opportunity, we would like to buy into your company. At that time, of course, with figurine, we've made, a bit of name. And they said they wanted to buy into Golden Effect, and I said they should propose what they have in mind. And they came back with this proposal of wanting to get 49% of the company shares. Really, the honest truth is I really didn't know. I don't have details of how equity and shares and all of those things work. And I'm like, okay, 49. Okay, so we still get 51. That seemed, but let me go and do my findings. And look, the thing is, you need to surround yourself with good people. You need to surround yourself with good friends. And as far back as that time, some of the people that, we sat together and took that decision, some of them are in this room today. Mike was one of them, Shewshoyi and Casti Bayorinde. All of us, we've been together since then, and we've managed to help and support, each other's businesses. So I went back to them saying, so if people want to take my company, I'm not doing, because, and they said, okay, fast forward, can we do a film project together if we won't partner, on that level? And I said, okay, why not? And then we did SPV for a film title. I'm not going to mention the name. And we went to production waiting for the funds they're supposed to put in. And till we finished, the fund never came. And at the end of the day, we had to dissolve this SPV or whatever. And up till now, they had a company secretary, there was a lawyer, and we couldn't go to court. You can't fight. They are big people. So you waste your time.
Right.
So even if you're considering partnering, and look at where we are today, we've managed to build a company. And the company gave back to another company, and to another company, and to another company.
All right. So I'm going to stop you there. Yeah, because I'm still coming to your experience sharing. Let me come to you, Dada, Mike Dada. What resonated with you most with the keynote's address, the chairman's, or the guest of honor's speech?
I think for me, is the in-depth knowledge and understanding by the keynote speaker. I never expected that.
You never expected it.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah. So she spoke about data. She spoke about collaboration. She did comparative analysis outside Nigeria, and that as creatives or creative entrepreneurs, you must look beyond your village. Which, of course, that's what we've been doing the last 20 years at Afrima. I think she spoke about even the creatives coming together, because we don't really work together. We like to work outside each other. For instance, the music and the film industry, the biggest two exploits, they don't really formally work together. What they do is to do yanga to each other.
Yes, as the keynote speaker said, in silos.
Yeah, so those are the fundamental things I took away from that. But more importantly, when you look at the landscape of funding, investment, and capital, it's a difficult terrain, and it's also not difficult, depending on how you look at it. And one thing I would just mention before I drop the mic is, it seems the music industry and the film industry in Nigeria have forgotten where they are coming from, their identity. This industry, the so-called industry in Nigeria, film and the Nollywood and music industry were built out of nothing by the people themselves, without government.
That's right.
So, yeah, and I think in the last 5-7 years, they've been looking more towards the government. Why I understand that the government needs to come in, more importantly, that entrepreneurship energy and power must not dwindle.
Okay.
That's my point.
We're returning to the government as we speak. Please pass the mic to, he has one, to Joseph Edgar. What resonated with you the most? Is not?
Okay, I think I'm in trouble here because I didn't listen to that speech. And honestly,
Did you not listen to any one of them?
Yeah, so I walked in there and I was greeting so many people. I was starstruck. And I'm coming, I'll wing it. And I heard some things, but I didn't know that coming to the panel I'll be asked to,
This is your comprehension exercise.
Me just think, say, when I come, I'll just talk, go. Okay, but I picked one or two things from her. I picked one or two things from the chairman. I picked one or two things from the
guest of honor.
Sorry? The organ representing number one. And I picked a lot from Mr. Afolayan. And let me also thank Mr. Olumide for inviting me here, because I don't really know what I've done to deserve to sit down here with all of these heavyweights. Now, but honest to God truth is that I think the industry is doing very well, extremely well. I really don't like these pity parties that go on where we just come and celebrate challenges and all of that. This is a multi-trillion naira industry. You guys are doing extremely well. Like, I'm an investment banker, so I see the figures, I see the growth potentials, I see the what do you call those things now? The projections. You know, if this industry continues at this pace, in fact, it has already outstripped oil and gas. It's getting closer to agri as one of the largest employers of labor. So there's no problem. So what we're looking for now is how to sustain it, institutionalize the growth, so it doesn't just look like a trend. It's an existing trend. Someone once told me and said that the average, I usually start very shy and then I get my confidence and I can't stop. So you have 10 minutes.
Okay, but I'll have to stop you at some
Someone
point.
says, that the average musician will reign for 10 years, averagely. Do you get? So you get Shino Peters, he will do his yo-yo, and then after 10 years, he's moved on. And then the president says, he's surprised that Wizkid and Davido and this big three seem to be surpassing that 10-year mark. So I think what is needed, which some people are started having in the system, is institutionalization of processes and structures.
All right.
And that is... I stop?
That's okay. We're still coming back for another round.
I'll just...
I know if we left you, you would take over. But let's just hear from Mary Ephraim Egbaz. What resonated with her most?
Thank you. Thank you very much. So there was so much knowledge that has been shown by the speaker, chairman, and it seems we all know what we need to do. We've kind of come from the problem. So like he says, there's no problem, but at least where we are at now and where we need to go. And one of the things that stuck out when she was speaking was, the need for structure, the need for institutionalization, which he has also mentioned, and also the need for patient funding. In fact, that really just kind of, that's like the highlight of it for me, because really, if we talk about funding, probably some people would say, but, this funding, just like Oga said here, somebody was ready to give money, but, the exchange rate was very high. So the idea went away, the funds went away. So, patient funding, and then, of course, understanding on the parts of the stakeholders and the industry. So I would just like to say that, to add, and I know we're going to say a lot, but just to add to what Nkiru said, really, at the end of the day, I hear people talk about structure around the industry, and I think the industry has done a lot in structuring itself. But we're now going to have to turn to the finance industry and look at how they have structured for this particular industry, not structured in general as financiers, but how they are responding, and she did talk about that, being responsive to this industry and how it's supposed to really work, how that relationship should work, really.
All right, thank you very much. Well, I love stats, so I'm going to read out a couple of statistics about the industry. The National Bureau of Statistics says Nigeria's creative industry contributed just 1.2% to Nigeria's GDP in 2022. And that just is because it's being compared to that of Morocco, 2.7%, that of Egypt, 4.3%, that of South Africa, 3%. And in terms of its ability to earn revenue, Nigeria has, as of 2022, ranked as low as 1% compared to South Africa's 12.5%. Quickly, I just want to have your views about this very low ranking of Nigeria in terms of the revenue that we generate. Joseph, I'd come to you first.
Okay, so I think those figures are false. Yeah, because the structure for collection, for collating such data, you are not robust enough to identify, the places that these revenues are coming from the entertainment industry. So you see, the mainstream financial structure, either at the level of policy or at the level of regulation, do not really understand what is going on in this room. Do you get? So that's why they can't really capture some of these things. So what they just do is to just chase after you guys. So they can actually see the money is floating. Do you get? But they do not have what it takes, do you get me now, to pull it down. You can't, for the life of me, say that an organization, an industry that is creating the kind of labor, the kind of workforce that it is creating nationwide and globally is contributing only 1%. Basically, you can't see the funds. You don't know how to track it. You don't know how to collect it.
Okay. I'll come to you. Thank you. I'll come to you, Mary.
Okay. Yeah, just to add to that. So, for instance, if you talk about generating funds in respect to whether it's Nollywood or is it the film industry, because 70%, or I would say maybe now 60% of the, let's use the cinema for instance, 60% of the funds that is generated in the cinema, and this is not just Nigeria, across Africa really, is not African content. And that doesn't say anything wrong about the African content. It's just what it is in terms of the positioning of where we are at. So if you look at it, generally the film industry, for instance, globally, right, is valued at about $136 billion. Right, of which Africa actually just represents less than 1% of that. So just the score I was talking about. So if you're saying that you're actually doing an analysis, and this is collaborating with what he's saying, 60% of that money doesn't come to the government. It goes out of the country. So that analysis really needs to be looked at, and the understanding of where we're generating and our value needs to be better assessed.
All right, thank you very much. Mike, Dada.
Okay, I think for me, I don't have the contrary data to that MBS, so I can't readily fault it. But the truth of the matter is there's positive data in Nigeria because we don't have the right infrastructure to harness those data correctly. I remember, I think it was 2013, 2012, thereabout, when Okonjo-Iweala was the Minister of Finance. They rebased Nigerian economy, and Nigeria became the biggest economy in Africa. And it was said it was because of the creative industry at 3.3%. So the question now is that what has happened since then to now that has reduced? And don't forget, the median age in Africa, even Nigeria, is by 18. So 70% of our population are very young people, and they're interested in mainly culture, tech, and sports. This is where they thrive. So there's productivity in that sector. That's the implication of that. So it has implication on even GDP itself. So I don't have a contrary data, but the reality on ground suggests that it should be more than that. So.
Okay. Kunle.
I think it's all been said. I mean, the parameters around,
the ranking.
I mean, I'm not sure. And just like Nkiru pointed out the other time, in film, if you're having a production, you have almost 10 departments, about 10 departments when a film production is going on. You have caterers, who handles, it takes like 10% of the entire fund, or if not more. You have the hotels, they take like a chunk of the money. You have a craft and, hairstylist and makeup people, fashion design, a lot of hands. And I'm sure, if not everybody, some of these people still remit taxes and all that to government. So I'm not sure if they're only looking at the box office figures or they're really looking at, other areas. There are, The East is a completely different sector.
Okay.
Kannywood, I'm not even sure of, what they do there. So I think we need to really check these facts, well. Thank you.
All right, let me come to Minister Hannatu Musa Musawa. She had this audacious, ambitious vision of generating at least $100 billion from the creative industry and creating over 2 million jobs through an 8-point plan standing on 4 pillars. She's also saying that by 2027, which is 2 years away, she's looking at the growth by 400%. And she's put a lot of things in place. Is this intervention, because they're quite a handful, are these interventions making sense to you at the top before we get to the messy middle? Kunle, I'll start with you. 8-point agenda, 4 pillars.
Why me?
That's a song.
Honestly, me, I don't know.
Are you feeling it, this intervention?
I don't understand it. Look, this thing there has been intervention approach, and there has also been executed intervention from government, even before this administration. But then, I think the entire structure, the entire industry needs to be restructured in a way, because people take money, and even when government give money, people take, and you can't even account for, why or what you use the money for. That is one of the major problems we have. But for those who are genuine, Mr. Edgar has been doing his plays, and, every time, even though they call him Alakatakiti, but then I want to interpret that in. Do you even know the meaning?
He's an Ijogbon man, isn't he?
Well, but then he sustained his thing, right? Just like, was it Mickey that mentioned that the industry was built by individuals, right? And there has always been from BOI and other government agencies, have always introduced interventions. But then how do we really, we did Cap Village opening a few months ago, and then the government promised to do certain things. We're still waiting, hopefully. But as an entrepreneur, for me, my take and what I would tell an average entrepreneur is, you cannot wait. All right? We got here on our own. All right? And if you believe in that, which you then reach out, look for other means. Government will need you at some point, and they will always come back. That's my take.
All right. Joseph, I'll take you, but then I would ask another question. I think, let's take you very briefly.
Yeah, let me answer it very quickly. And I'm very excited about this thing you just rolled out now from the minister. It's like those days when we're in banks, when we're young bankers, and they have what they call NPR, and they say, how much are you going to bring? You don't tell them what they want to hear. Do you get? I want to bring 2 billion. They say, okay, we're done. That's what that minister is doing. Because the industry already has employed 2 million people, if not more. So why are we waiting for only God knows when and all of that? You see, my advice to the industry is that you guys should not drive away genuine people who understand the business of entertainment. Do you get? That's what's killing you. That's what's making you not get that institutional sustainability that we're looking for. So people come and say it's just a theater marketer. No, I understand finance and a little bit of creativity, and then based on that, build a structure. You get me now? There's not totally finance that can fit with you. The traditional banks will never understand you. They will never understand you. The traditional investment bankers will never understand you. The traditional investor who puts his money in an oil rig, puts his money in real estate, will never understand you. You're asking someone to give you 100 million, 200 million on a song, he will just be looking at you. You're asking someone to give you 50 million on a song, he'll just be looking at you. I'm coming. I'll keep quiet now after this one, I beg. No, I'll keep quiet. Next time when you're inviting me, give me time. Please. my advice is to build substructures. Substructures. That's what I've done. I don't want any money from any government, not interested. Build substructures, funds that are run by people who understand your basic needs. Simple.
All right. Okay, go ahead. The how, very briefly. Yemi is whispering in my ears. A very quick how, and then I come to Mike.
No, very simple now. So, you see, there are things they call investment, they call them funds, and they call them funds of funds. So, they are specialized, customized funds for this industry. Do you understand? So, if you have a fund for movies, a fund for theater, a fund for whatever, so the investors, they already know the nature of what you're trying to do. And that patient capital you're talking about sits in that fund. That person who is investing in that fund is not going to ask you to go and bring a collateral like BOI. Go and bring your house to collect loan because he knows it's a risk he's taking with you. He's taking a risk on your talent. So the insurance company who's coming to that fund, the investor who's coming to that fund already knows that Kunle's movie may or may not. And then there's something they call trend analysis. You get, so he relies on his past performances to project his returns. The BOI, the First Bank, we never understand that.
All right.
They could.
Okay. Mary.
Okay.
Mary wants to quickly jump in. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. So I agree, and I think that there's a cure as well. It's not. I mean, I hear what you mean by they will never understand because it's intriguing. It has complexities, blah blah. But it can be defined, and it is defined. And I say that because we have just completed training for about 15 finance, which includes financiers, which includes banks and the rest. Like we at the Africa Film Finance Forum, we talked to the banks and they said to us, we don't understand your industry. We can get it. We don't know where the numbers are. We don't know how it works. How do you get? And we decided, okay. And I remember one of the bank MDs said to us, would you teach us? Would you train us? And from there, we came up with a training, put together a training together, and today we've done about 15 banks. Well, not just banks, 15 investors, financiers, basically, and banks as well.
But is it translating into investment in the industry?
Of course it will eventually. Okay. You have to start with that. They have to understand. They have to know what this industry is about. Okay. You understand? And how it works. There has to be, and one of the things that he said, this industry needs more than creators. It's an industry, which means that there are many aspects to which we need financiers. We need people that understand financing. We need people that understand insurance. And we need the insurance people to understand this industry. We need lawyers. We need marketing companies that understand how to take our message, curate it properly, so that we can do, the creators. I'm not in production or anything like that. I could be because I have the understanding, but I'll still be on the business side of things.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll pause you there. Let me come to you, Mike. They say creativity is a wild mind and a disciplined eye. How have you been a disciplined eye with your wild mind?
Maybe wild mind, discipline, from the point of view of marketing and communication.
That's right.
I'm not an artist. I can't sing to save my life. So I went into this because looking for a platform to communicate Africa to the rest of the world for global competitiveness. And we saw music as a purveyor of value to do this. And that's why we went to it 20 years ago and be consistent over that. So just to speak to what Edgar was saying about they will never understand. I think it's the duty of this industry to make them understand. Because there's no way you would not need them. We need them. And from experience, I've had been talking to some MDs of banks to say, the same they said to us, say, we don't understand. And nobody will put their money in what they don't understand. It's the reality of life. And they don't put their money because they like your face. It's because of the idea we give them returns. Don't say they are wicked, they don't support us, even government don't support. Even government don't understand. Doesn't understand. That's why they form policies that will not work. And from policy, you have to take action. From action to be impact. But if the policy and design of policy is wrong from day one, there won't be an action, there will never be an impact. Okay. So it is the duty of this industry even either by workshops or any other means, to ensure that they understand. You communicate to them, they understand why the size of the potential of this industry to reduce poverty, to take people, the young people away from the street. It is our duty to let them understand.
All right, thank you very much. Kunle, Pablo Picasso said that the chief enemy, please go ahead and clap for him, that's fine. Pablo Picasso said the chief enemy of creativity is good sense. I'm going to tie that to structure. How have you been able to bridge the gap between ideas and structure? After that, I'll come to the audience.
I've been very intentional, when I started this. I'll say in 2005, that was when we registered Golden Effects. And when we were going to make our first film, I remember I said to myself, I didn't want to do what everybody was doing. And I managed to not cut corners, but capitalize on areas where people were not focusing. And then Irakwada became a success. And after then, it was figuring, and I said, no, we have to take it higher. But then I was very conscious of, or mindful of, the ecosystem. I'll say I'm a bit lucky that, I came from that background. My father and his contemporaries, Ogunde and the rest of them, I saw their structure. And even up till now, I still go back to some of my father's files to read some of the contracts, because I have access to those files. That's my own inheritance. I took some of those files, so I'm always reading them. And I have contracts that he signed with the likes of Faleti when he wanted to do his first film in 1978, acquiring the right to Omolokwenshi, and all of that. And the contract with all of the group, theater group and all of that. And we don't even do that much details now. They usually we call those people illiterates, but they were more structured than what we have now. There were contracts and all. So for me, I thought there is need for us to have a more structured, robust ecosystem. Whenever it is we want to film, we'll hire a caterer, and then we'll hire. And I felt, okay, what if I have I could open a canteen, even if not a proper catering. And from there, Afolayan started. So we started in Lagos, and we started with Cap Hub. Cap Hub is in Ikeja. And within Cap Hub, I thought, okay, we need to have a school, because every day young people will reach out to you asking or saying their life depends on you, saying they saw you in their dream and you are the beginning of their problem solver. So, and I thought, how could we, there's no way you can individually cater for these people. So we set up a school, and then we have a cinema, Cap Cinema. It's an ecosystem, because in my head, I'm like, okay, let's create a one-stop shop for creatives. And from there, when people come, when they eat there, when they talk, other ideas, will come up. And that has really helped. Sorry, don't cut me let me just quickly land.
Okay.
And because we started this, that brought interest from outside. We did partnership with MasterCard Foundation. In fact, we've never gotten any support towards the academy from Nigerian government. It's always been U.S. Embassy, MasterCard Foundation, French Embassy, all of those people, right? And from there, we've managed to extend it, and made a bigger move, outside of Lagos. So I'm saying, first you have to be intentional. If this is all about just making money and living like a celebrity, that we are, I don't need to be doing all of that. But building capacity and catering for, those young people that will tell our own story is something that, is of a key interest to me.
Thank you very much. All right, so would there be anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question from the panelists or contribute to the conversation? AEME says we will take 2 so that you don't think I'm the wicked one. Okay, I'll take from that side, yes. The man in black and white. Yes, please. Who passes the mic now?
Yes, I can stand as the wicked person. I'm all right. Those that know me that I'm not wicked.
Okay, sir.
So please, when I hand you the mic, sorry, Funke, please introduce yourself and then ask your question very briefly. 1 question. I don't see notepad.
2 sentences maximum. Don't ask a para.
Good afternoon. My name is Yubo Koko, and I'm from Rivers State. Now let me do contribute. Kunle, put your face for front here. Let it go for back. So much I've learned, or there's so much I've gained from Nkiru's perspective again. Sorry, I know you want me to ask a question, but for the fact that I come from an area where culture is such a big business, and nobody wants to look into that, and that is a good man as far as I'm concerned. It's very scalable. Now, I just want to talk from Nkiru's perspective. How do we, if I have to follow from Mike, how do we, as an industry, reach out to the people who would want to access fundings, not even from government, which that one a bad market. But again, to have, when they do due diligence on them, how best do we reach out to people? While she said collaboration, you know that most people don't like to collaborate. But how best can we reach out to people to understand that the best approach to growing the brand or whatever they do is that they need to have all of the documentations, all of the back-end stories, so that when they push it out, the people they're pushing out to, we know more about them to value what they have. What's the best approach? I'm just asking.
All right. I remember the chairman saying it's more than entertainment. It's about identity. So you're quite right. So who wants to... Mike?
Okay.
A very quick response.
Okay, the quick response is, like she said, the industry is not all about the creatives alone. There are professionals that surround that creatives. For instance, Davido is an artist, but you can imagine how many people generate revenue from him. Lawyers, financial consultants, brand communication experts, PR experts, and all of that. For instance, in one of our organizations, a sport betting company, we're looking for $20 million to scale. So the question is, will I sit down and start writing it myself? The answer is no. We needed to engage a consultant whose field is that, to really make sure that we properly put documents in place that will entice investors. And we pay them. And I think that's what we should try to do as creatives. Look for professionals in those fields who can work with us to ensure that we get our objectives right.
In other words, we grow the value chain. Okay. Let's have you, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to be here. My name is Radisson Blu Hotel. I'm the president of Association of Corporate Affairs Managers of Banks in Nigeria. We have almost 87 banks in Nigeria. The current government is targeting a 1 trillion economy. I will advise Olumide Iyanda, my very good friend.
$1 trillion or $1 trillion?
$1 trillion economy.
Thank you.
Yes. So I want QE set up a think tank consolidation. By end of Q1, the banks that has become the darling of the entire world. I believe very strongly that if QED set up a think tank, Mike Dada was saying that we need to let the banks understand what we do. Edgar is there. Do you understand? So let the think tank, let them form a blueprint through which they will be able to approach the bank so that this creative sector can take advantage of the money that's available in the banking. That way, we'll for it. All the elements within the creative will be able to scale and get enough funds. And everybody will be empowered within all the value chain. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me
respond to Yibo Koko.
But also respond to my
Sir Rashid Bolari.
Yeah. I still say forget the banks. No, honest to God truth, forget the banks. Because the way banks are structured, banks are quantitative. You get? They want to see inflow and outflow. They want to see a track before they come in. Are you getting me now? But if we build a subculture, a sub-economy that stands between you and the banks, then it just might work. You get a subculture that who understands the banks and also understand you. A fund made up of people who understand what the bank wants and also understands what you want. That fund takes the risk with the banks. Do you get me now? And then offloads to you. You get? That's one. Now for Igbo, how do you attract those things? It's very simple. Two things I'll say here now. You depersonalize your business. Personalize your business. Do you get? So Kunle Afolayan should be totally different from your company name. Kabob. You get key man risk. There's key man risk everywhere. I'm somewhere now trying to do a festival. One man, I'm the director. One man, I'm the makeup artist. One man, I'm the... No. You depersonalize it. Do you get? Build the structures. Have corporate governance. Let people know what they call collective decision taking. And when there's collective decision taking, then there's collective responsibility. So an investor or someone who wants to be part of you would have that confidence. Do you understand? So I'm doing something now, and one man is everything. And I'm saying, okay, what if something happens to you? Do you get? How do we react? And that's the situation in most of the industry. So depersonalize and then.
All right, Kunle.
Sorry, I just. I think what works for A might not work for B, because that depersonalizing thing can never work for me, right? Because there couldn't have been a CAP motion or CAP village or CAP without my personal input. Look, my friends and I were always talking, and I remember, excuse me, I have another friend who is doing very well in the industry, and I remember she used to, our platform was established in partnership with another bigger establishment, and most of the time, when it comes to finances, everything goes into that. Oh, sure, Remy. Oh, sure. So, and one day, I think she wanted to do a project, and then she couldn't access money. And quite a number of times, I remember she asked me, and I said, who are your board members? And I said, it's me and Mommy. And I said, even Mommy said, I sign her signature. So, so it's me pretty much. And really, and I said, because I feel that I could handle a lot of these things. If it works for you, fine. If you think you don't have the capability, then you can always have. If you follow, and I'm not saying don't follow structure, but there are structures. The structure that works in the US might not work in Nigeria. Right. The Hollywood structure will not work in Nigeria. The Nigerian structure will not work in Ghana. The Ghana structure will not work in Benin or in Cameroon. So I think it's important that, surround yourself with the right people, whether formally or informally. And I think that works better than, all of these overemphasized putting in or putting yourself in something that cups your hand and you're not able to think. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Finally, yes. My daughter, finally. Okay. Hear me standing by.
Just 60 seconds. Yeah. Because one has the opportunity to talk around the world, and at the end of the day, there are no actions. So please, don't mind Joseph. Don't forget the banks. What he said about we forming a committee, engaging the banks, I think it's an actionable item that must be followed. We need them, please.
Okay,
don't
finally, are you jittery about AI or emboldened by it? I mean, ChatGPT-5 is out now. They say it's equivalent to having 5 professors answer your questions. Is it endangering the creative industry, or very quickly?
I think based on principle, technology is meant to support and to enhance, to improve. So that is what AI will continue to remain to be.
All right, thank you very much, Kunle.
For me, they're always saying it's not going to take your job. That's a lie. It's going to take a lot of people's job if you don't key in. A lot of people in creative who focus mainly on writing and research are going to lose their jobs. All right? So if you don't want to lose your job, then you have to find a way to be better than AI, really. Those that will enjoy, or rather, I think with people who have a show, if you're Andy and you do craft and all of that, AI might not be able to, take that. But if you say, I'm a creative writer, I'm a this and that, it's going to affect it. So we all need to be,
All right, Joseph, you do theater. You're on stage. Are you emboldened by AI, or you're jittery about it?
No, so I pity those I work with. It can't affect me because my own is to go and look for the money. You get? But so I once went to someone's office and we were talking and he says, "Oh, Edgar, let me write a script for you now." And I'm like, "How?" And then he did that thing on his laptop. I told him, "Write a script in my eye like this." And I'm asking myself, because I know how much I've paid for script in the last 2-3 years. Do you get? So the script writers, like I said, all of that, But for me, I'm safe.
All right. Finally, Mary, you convene a finance, film finance outfit. Is it a threat?
I think it's an enabler, and it would really help the finance industry. So there's something called green lighting for a script to go into production. And since most of the financiers do not understand the intricacy, normally there is like a group of people that are like they do script coverage, and they'll be able to tell you if this script, if you make a film out of it, is going to make money. So currently there is AI has been able, there's a company that basically is a film tech company that has enabled for you to just plug in the script in there, and it tells you the value of the project and if it's going to make money. So I think even for the financiers, it will really be an enabler, because then you don't have to go to film school to understand all these things. You can trust a system that has been put together by experts, to enable that. That's just an example of what I think AI can really do for the industry.
All right, a round of applause for our panelists. Mary Egbaz, Joseph Edgar, Mike Dada, and Kunle Afolayan. Thank you very much for your time. A round of applause for yourselves as well.
Thank you. Those that want to take photographs before they come off the stage, please. Mr. Iyanda is making his way to the stage. Mr. Ufot, our keynote speaker, SSA. Yes, sir. I know you're a participant, SSA, but please join as well. Dr. Balonwu. They just said we should collaborate. Press, there's no need to fight. One more person to join the lineup. Edgar, can you help her with thank you? Because they want to see your teeth. All right, thank you, press. Thank you. A round of applause for all of them once again. You're welcome. Are you good? You're welcome. All right, so we're going to go straight to the second panel. And I'm going to implore Mr. Steve Ayorinde to please help me keep within 40 minutes. I know that we have interesting topics, but We've been here almost 4 hours now, if not that. Just a minute, please. Also, let me quickly, once again, mention our sponsors. First Bank Nigeria Limited, Providence Bank, NLNG, Shell, and Polaris Bank. Please give them all a round of applause. Thank you very much. So the second panel session, Financing Creative Enterprise, Role of Financial Institutions and Government. I'd also like to implore you once again, if you're having conversations with those around you, please, indoor voice. Thank you very much. Our moderator is Mr. Steve Ayorinde. I'm going to quickly, somebody's happy to have him. I'm going to quickly, yes, a round of applause is good. I'm going to quickly read his bio while he comes up. Thank you, sir. Steve Ayorinde is an accomplished journalist, author, media consultant, and television host. A respected media voice, Steve was editor of The Punch, Nigeria's largest selling newspaper, and also former MD, editor-in-chief of National Mirror newspapers. Please, can I request again that we please use our indoor voices? Please. Please, we're reading people's citations, and we're old enough to respect that. Thank you very much. Between 2015 and 2019, he was appointed into the Cabinet of Lagos State Government, where he served first as the Honorable Minister for Information and Strategy, and later, I beg your pardon, Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy, and later Commissioner for Tourism, Arts, and Culture. A creative industry player, Steve was on the advisory committee of Bank of Industry's Intervention Fund to filmmakers. He has served on the governing council and jury of the African Movie Academy Awards since 2005, as well as the jury of Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Awards. He was on the panel of judges for the Hip Hop Headies Awards and has served on the International Council of the All Africa Music Awards, AFRIMA, since 2013. A prolific writer and author of several books, Steve has moderated several high-profile events and panel discussions. He is a co-host on Arise News channel's popular The Morning Show, The Weekend Edition. Steve Ayorinde is the moderator for this panel. Next is Dr. Shuaibu Hussaini. Dr. Shuaibu Hussaini, Executive Director, National Film and Video Censors Board, is a respected journalist, performing artist, cultural administrator, media scholar, and one of Nigeria's foremost film curators. He is widely regarded as one of the most consistent documentarists on Nollywood and its evolution. He currently serves as the Executive Director of the National Film Video Censors Board, where he leads efforts to regulate and support Nigeria's dynamic film and video industry. Over a career spanning more than 30 years, he has worked across journalism, broadcasting, theater, public relations, and cultural policy. He is editor-at-large of The Guardian newspaper and author of Moviedom, The Nollywood Narratives, a definitive monograph on the development of Nigeria's film and video industry. A former pioneer artist and later director of the National Troupe of Nigeria, Dr. Hussaini has also served as secretary of the governing board of the National Theatre, National Troupe, and director of dance and music. He has played key roles in cultural administration and policy formulation, both nationally and internationally. He currently serves as the Secretary General of the Nigerian chapters of both the Federation of African Film Critics and the International Federation of Film Critics. He is also chairman of the Dance Guild of Nigeria and a pioneer member of the National Dance Company of Nigeria. With a passion for policy, mentorship, and media development, Dr. Shuaibu Hussaini continues to champion structures that support creativity, accountability, and excellence in Nigeria's growing film and cultural industries. Dr. Shuaibu Hussaini. We also have Dr. Abiodun Famakinwa. Is he he's not Eduro no Joe. Yes, it's Farmer Kinwa. Farmer Kinwa nonsense. I beg you. Anyway, I've said you can blame me for all the. So, Dr. Abiodun Famuyiwa. All right. Let me quickly find his bio. His career, that's not the beginning. Dr. Abiodun Famuyiwa is a distinguished and highly accomplished banking executive with over 3 decades of experience in technology, project management, and strategic leadership. He holds a first-class honors degree in statistics. First-class honors in statistics from the University of Ibadan and an MBA from the University of Lagos. His career at First Bank began in 2001 within the Information Technology Division. He quickly rose through the ranks, demonstrating a talent for leading high-impact projects and teams. He moved to the Products and Channels Division in 2009, where he held several key roles, including Head of Data Mining and Report, Head of Project Management and Automation, and Head of the Money Transfer Department. During his tenure as head of money transfer from 2012 to 2014, his team's transformative changes earned them recognition as the bank's second most customer-centric team. A certified professional with multiple affiliations, Abiodun is a dedicated team player and an effective leader. Outside of his professional life, he enjoys reading inspirational books, learning new things, and is an avid soccer fan. He is married with 3 daughters. Dr. Abiodun O. Famuyiwa. We also have Dr. Abiodun Ario. A round of applause for him, please. Dr. Abiodun Ario is the group head, large corporates and structured finance at Providus Bank. With nearly 2 decades of experience across UBA, EcoBank, and First Bank, he has led major trade finance deals across Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. His expertise spans corporate and investment banking, structured trade finance, treasury, and credit risk management. A recognized thought leader, Dr. Ario frequently speaks at international trade finance forums and local webinars. He holds a BSc in economics, best graduating student, an MBA, and a PhD in structured trade commodity finance. He is a fellow of the Institute of Credit Administration, a member of CBIN, and an associate of the Institute of Chartered Economists of Nigeria. He is a devoted Christian, married with children. Dr. Abiodun Ario. Last, but certainly not the least, and she, I know personally, is Yemisi Falaye. A round of applause for her, please. Let me quickly find her citation. Yemisi Falaye is an entertainment lawyer with 20 years legal experience. She currently works at the Temple Company and heads the legal and business development departments of the company. Prior to joining Temple Company, Yemisi headed the entertainment law group of the largest law firm in Nigeria, Denton's ACAS Law. Yemisi has, over the years, garnered in-depth experience in providing premium legal service, advice, and representation to individuals and organizations in the entertainment industries in Nigeria, which include film, music, theater, art, television, radio, publishing, and digital media. Yemisi can proudly boast of working with a large number of clients across the entertainment industry, namely D'banj, etc., 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 etc. She is regarded as one of the most influential entertainment lawyers in Nigeria. Aside entertainment law, Yemisi also has a wide range experience in intellectual property, real estate, immigration, and company secretarial matters in Nigeria. Yemisi Falaye is the head legal and business development, the Temple Company. Yemisi Falaye. Mr. Ayuride, I hand over to you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Sorry, sir. So, Muma time 121. You have 40
You did
minutes.
not time the first
I did,
panel.
sir. I actually did.
No.
I actually did, sir. They just didn't agree. I actually did.
We're in the age of double standards.
No, I don't do double standards. I don't do double standards.
Don't go there.
I shouldn't go there.
All right, so I believe that our time starts now. Am I correct? Hey, you hear me? All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations to Mighty Media, QED, Mr. Olumide, Iyanda, for pulling this off. Fantastic. Thank you. All right. One thing I didn't ask, I saw that Dr. Famuyiwa came with his water, but I didn't see Dr. Ario or the DG or Yemisi with water. Please give them water. Everyone love me. Give them water. Because we want to talk money. All right. Thank you so very much. In starting off, I think it would be ideal to acknowledge that what we have heard from the chairman of the occasion, from the keynoter, which was so as beautiful as Dr. Nkiru herself, the keynote, and of course from the special guest of honor who was quick to say that he was representing himself. Those three, what I think I could glean from what they have said is that yes, there might be challenges, yes, there might be issues, but then we appear to be on the right track and that the possibilities are endless. And so it is on that note that I think that we should very quickly, within the time that we have, connect the financial dots and to set the tone for the discussion for this panel. I think I will go straight to the bankers. Yemisi, I apologize that should be ladies first, but I'll come to you right after them. Dr. Ario, Dr. Famuyiwa, you are bankers. I love the way that your CV is read, but we're talking finance, we're talking First Bank, and we're talking Providus. Two things here will be to first address two of the issues that were directed at bankers. I think it was Duke of Shomolu, Joseph Edgar, as you know him, that said, no, don't go to banks. I saw that my Dada tried to correct it. Don't deal with bankers, even though he was an investment banker at some point. Is that correct? Is that a myth, or is it the reality? When they say, don't go there, try and raise your money by yourself. Even though if you drill down correctly, you see that possibly 65% of the funding and sponsorship that Joseph Edgar himself is using comes from the banks before we talk government. And then the other part will be to know what your banks have done specifically for the industry. For First Bank, I know, of course, of the First Arts initiative, and for Providus, we can't mention your bank without looking at what you've done for World Poetry Day, for Professor Wole Soyinka, for the Hive, different things like that. Talk to us about why people think that in this age, your sector is still struggling to understand the creative economy. Over to you, sirs. Yes, please, Dr. Ario.
All right, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And first, I would like to thank the entire creative participant around the visibility they've given to the country. We cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much from Providus Bank. So flowing from there, I will start by saying, truly an eye does not see itself except by reflection. So in a way, he might be right. And in another way, he might not be right. In traditional funding structure for projects, yes, it is difficult for banks to understand. But there's a model called structured trade or structured financing, whereby you have to understand with the participant. And thank you for the gentleman, though he did it pro bono. But the truth is that if we really understand the industry, the funding will be made possible. It happens in the metal industry. It happened in the export industry. So there is no exception to it happening
in the creative industry. If we really understand the hand-holding portion whereby all of us are carried along from stage to stage, I'm sure funding will be given. Now, this is the way I think we should look at it. I know we've been speaking a lot about patient capital, but I think it goes beyond that. Not only patient, let's look at efficient capital. Let's look at low-cost capital. Let's look at specific capital for a project. For instance, if Davido, for instance, sings in O2, it's very likely that the returning of that funds or whatever proceed he gets sits in O2 or perhaps is remitted from that space. So the bank's concern is two ways when we are lending, performance and payment. And then we have one mantra, never lose your capital. If we don't want to lose our capital, we will take one thing they call what will make the unwilling willing, and that is holding you to something. Now, if we are looking at not holding you to something, it means that definitely there must be some cushion effect, something to indemnify us in an unlikely event that there is a backflipping, or we call it a belly-up nature of that funding. So what matters is the bank is actually also into business. There is responsibility to shareholders, and then things will have to be appropriate. But the truth is this. We are creating support from our space, from the poetry side, like he said, to the fact that we even open our lounges to the creative industry. You can have your small sector meetings in any of our lounge, in any of our branches, FOC. We're not going to take a dime. And this is open to the creative as well as any other industry. I was just, when I came in here, and I look at the number of participants, and I thought within myself, that Ajayi, which is the brand representative, we can as well hold this on our rooftop at free of charge for the entire creative industry. So it's something we can look at. The truth is that we are happy to fund. Part funding that we need to also look at is the bankability of whoever we are funding. Now, we need to create what can easily be seen in terms of data. Like I always call my brother, although he doesn't really know me, I call him Boda Kunle when I look at him. I think we both school in Ilorin, but probably he's a big senior. But the truth is this, when I look at what they are doing and the capacity of funding we can give, it probably might be beyond me just giving you 10 million naira, 100 million naira, or they call the intervention for 5 billion. And in my mind, I look at it in dollars. How much is this for a market that is projected in 2030 to be $100 billion? So we need to really support the space in terms of what we can do. But what we now is on case-by-case basis. So if you bring it on, we'll profile it and then provide the funding. Now we have funded about 4, but I can tell you it is a sweet and sour story. The payment has not been done.
When you say you funded 4,
yeah.
What are we talking about?
Okay, so we're looking at like 4 entities that were provided funding for, and it came to about 1.5 billion out of the funding structure. The pricing was
out of 5 billion.
Yes,
1.5
billion.
But that
1.5 was not good, as we speak. So it is a true negative representation of what we intend. We're not saying that this is the representative or the representation of all. Just like what Edgar was saying around the investment banking part. The truth is, it is a bumpy road for the bank. We need the bank to understand. Because what the bank will ask for, they probably will ask for some sort of collateral. But again, we can swing it and provide indemnity, some insurance cover, because it's more or less like I said, is a bumpy ground that we really need to take care of while we are funding it. Thank you.
Dr. Ario, before you give the mic to Dr. Famuwa, let's drill down a bit. These 4 entities that will get, I believe they will ultimately get it. Or they've gotten it?
They got it already. We disbursed.
Who are they? What sort of projects?
No, it's not for this forum.
Okay, so what sort of projects were able to pass through to get 1.5 billion?
Okay, so the process is, or the project is actually, I think, is film making. And like we said,
all the 4 are film?
Yeah, film making.
Okay.
And again, the thing is that I think the discussion we had around that, which again, I think it's more like a speculative arrangement. You know, it's just like somebody who thinks his song will be sweet and he ends up not getting, or what do you call it? You know, it all blow, you understand? So that's responsibility. But as far as the bank is concerned, it is your savings account, it's your current account that I'm deploying to lend money to someone else. So what matters right now is we look at it and say, perhaps the interest rate might not be okay, and we brought it down maybe 10 points lower from an average of 30 to like 20. But again, we still have this. So what I'm saying is this. We need the understanding around the projection. We cannot use all size fits all to lend in this particular sector. So, like creating a forum to sensitize banks, then the banks will also ventilate information around bankability. I think that handshake is necessary and is overdue. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ariyo. Dr. Famwewa, talk to us along the line of what he has said, but as it affects First Bank. I know that you have delved into the areas of infrastructure, Ebony Live, but then what does First at heart, what does it do, and how can it be accessed?
Thank you very much, and I'm so glad to be here. I've jotted so much notes. My notebook is almost full. Right from when the chairman started to Nkiru, and I was just writing and writing and writing. I think basically what I want to start with is that there's a major lacuna somewhere. And that's why I'm excited to be here. I'm the pioneer head of SME banking
at First Bank.
First Bank. And we started delving into this some few years back when we saw that, yes, as a bank, we touch a number of sectors, but we have generic products serving different sectors. So we started looking into different sectors. And interestingly, over a year ago, we went into this creative industry. I must admit personally, I never knew how big this industry was. And somebody mentioned it here that the figures thrown out there is underestimated, and I totally agree. When you look into the creative industry, we're looking at entertainment, media, beauty and lifestyle, hospitality, all this. By the time you break them down further, you take a deeper dive, you discover that you have so much to chew in each of these areas, not to talk of the value chain. For instance, in First Bank last year, we decided to take the bull by the horn, and we went into a decision at the senior level to try to look into the creative industry. Okay? We have not really arrived there, I must say, even though we're doing fine arts, but looking at what is happening now and what I've heard today, we are yet to scratch the surface. And for me, why I'm excited to be here is that I think the direction to go, and thanks to Mr. Iyanda for bringing this together, there's a lot the bank can actually do. But there's a challenge.
The little that you have done
Yes.
with the special interest that you developed
Yes.
last year.
Yes.
Are you able to quantify it? I'm aware, of course, of what you do in December. Something along
Yes.
the line of Dirty December.
Yes, exactly.
You pump a lot of money into concerts.
Exactly. So I will say, I'm actually coming there.
Okay.
What the bank or what we have been doing is more or less like sponsorship. Yeah. We need more than that for this industry. That's not the real meat. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying that attending this, my eyes are also beginning to open to some other areas. Under my department, for instance, in the bank, I deliberately decided to start a new unit, which is strategic partnership. Okay? To begin to look into these various sectors. And for me, I'm going to have a meeting with Mr. Iyanda after this meeting to say, look, how is this creative industry structured? I'm telling you, most banks don't know. I'm being very honest with you.
So you are
like
confirming.
a myth.
You are confirming what practically everybody has said.
Honestly, it's
but
like
then
a myth.
the industry has been dealing with financial institutions and banks for decades.
Yes.
What is it that you are still struggling with to understand?
Good. Very good. You know, as a bank, one of the things you need to realize is that you need to understand the business dynamics of any business that you want to go into. Even if you look into, for instance, recently, I got involved in the area of sports. All right? And I realized that even the sports industry is far from what a lot of people understand it to be. I'm making a report on it to say, look at, I've done some interesting studies, going to Morocco, going to some other areas, some climes. And you discover that even some nations that are not sporting nations, like UAE, they're making a lot of money from sports. And this is part of the creative industry. So by the time you look at the creative industry, there's so much we need to do. So there's need for us to sit down together.
Okay, so
have a strategic partnership with them. Once we have that strategic partnership, we understand the structure, we understand who to talk to, then we begin to do business.
Okay,
I'm sure we'll be able to break all the myths.
When I come back to you, of course, I'm sure that people will be interested in what is it that you want from them to get things done. But let's go to EMC before we come to government. EMC. EMC, I would like you to talk to us, from two perspectives. But first, looking at what Dr. Nkiru said earlier, when she said something close to how many can deal with multi-million-dollar projects, and therefore our ecosystem will need smaller funding structures so that money can, permeate the industry. What has been your experience, first as a lawyer and a legal mind, representing projects, representing artists, and then secondly, your specific experience with the Temple company, seeking finance and making sure that the right lines are understood? Because it's a major thing when people say, oh, I got support from the bank, but I didn't realize that I was not going to make money, that they are going to come for me. What has been your own experience dealing with all those, strategic realities of seeking money coming, and then you having to repay?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Iyanda, for inviting me. It's indeed a great honor to be here. Secondly, it looks like I'm going to be the Duke of Shomolu of this panel. That's because, unfortunately, I missed the chairman's remark. I also missed, unfortunately, Doctor's keynote speech. I had another engagement, and unfortunately, I missed them. So I was hoping that you wouldn't ask me that question, but alas, we're here. Now, specifically, my experience regarding financing, particularly in within the entertainment industry ecosystem. What I would say is this, what I've noticed is this. You don't, if you do your homework well, if you present yourself in a way where you are marketable, if you do what you have to do, it will be easy for you to have conversations with people. So I will use myself wrong as a lawyer to market myself with all sense of humility. I think I've done, not that I think, I know for sure that I've worked hard enough to make myself marketable without marketing myself. That, I think, is the issue we have within the entertainment industry. Davido, for instance, would not need to market himself. His work shows that he's marketable. His work shows that he's bankable. To a very large extent, we've kind of clocked it in the music industry. With due respect to the likes of Mr. Afolayan and the filmmakers in the room, I don't know how far, I don't know how well we have been able to achieve that within the film industry. If we make ourselves viable, make the industry viable, the two doctors from Providence Bank and First Bank will be the one chasing us. Not
You think the industry is not viable?
With all due respect, I'm not sure that we are there yet. If we were
Or
viable,
that we've not presented, or the industry hasn't presented itself well as a viable industry.
either way, if we have not presented ourselves well, that means we have not completed our task of being viable. If we were viable, I don't think the likes of Netflix will work out on us. I don't think the likes of Prime will work out. They've given us
You're going into controversial territories, but
Okay,
I like
my
it.
bad.
But I
My
like
bad.
it. Go on.
No. Maybe I should, because I don't want controversy.
Go on.
But I mean,
We like controversy.
Well,
It's okay.
So I mean, so my point basically is, we should. I mean, I've been on several projects where, we had to raise funds in the film industry, also music as well. Apart from what's the content you're creating, we haven't really been able to. We have not been able to. I'll go back to the word viable. We have not been. I don't think we've done enough to show that indeed this project will be bankable.
Before I come to Dr. Shaibu, the sort of money that you have attempted to raise, talking of the viability question that you have raised, how well have they performed? If you've gotten loans, did you repay? If you invested in project, did he make money? Talking viability.
Yes. Now,
very quickly.
So I've done the music part, I've done the movie part. Again, I would say the music part
was better.
Yes.
All right.
Kunle, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. All right. Dr. Shaibu Hussein, let's talk policy. Let's talk government. Providence, Dr. Ariyo said something about the 5 billion and 1.5 billion will be going into 4 projects, 4 entities. Has gone into all movies. The funding is talking about, is it the same as the Creative Economy Development Fund that your ministry, your supervising ministry is talking about? If it is not the same thing, talk to us about this your own fund, and how is it different from all the funding structures that the industry has enjoyed before? We both served, on the advisory panel of BOI. How is it different, and how will it be accessed? I'm asking you not just as a policy person, but also as a stakeholder in the industry and as a journalist who for close to, if not more than 30 years, was advocating for the endowment funds for the arts.
Thank you very much for the question, and good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, everyone. It's okay afternoon,
Good
everyone.
afternoon.
It's my pleasure to be here, and I want to thank Mighty for the invitation. The National Film and Video Censors Board is having a major media outreach in Enugu today. We usually take advantage of the August meeting gathering of our women from the Southeast to educate them on media consumption, especially as it concerns our families now. And that event is happening as I speak. But Mighty cannot invite you and you will not be there. Mighty is a brother, is a family, is everything. And so I told them to go, and I will be here so that I can be able to be part of this event. Right, to your question, and then, of course, I want to make a request. Mighty, please put Dr. Balonwu's paper on your website or something, and also the chairman's address, too. Is someone who is doing so much at the National Economic Summit Group, so we need to keep hearing, reading, and knowing. And I took a lot of notes, from both of them, and of course even the SSA when he made his speech. And I want to specially recognize him for being here. All right, back to the question. I'm one person who believes that government
just needs to create policies and create the enabling environment for the industry to thrive. I'm not one who believes that government should begin to give out handouts to creatives to make films or to make creative works. So even before I became executive director, I've been advocating for the fact that, we need to put down sustainable policies that are sustainable, policies that don't just come and when another government comes into office, they wipe the policy out. For instance, during the administration, and I'm talking about the difference between those funding schemes and this one now. During the administration of President Jonathan, he gave something they call, Project Nollywood. That was basically a grant to filmmakers to make films and all that. And we quarreled with that grant, and that's because we felt that there should have been a monitoring structure, something that can make that grant sustainable. But there was nothing on ground that kept that fund going. So when another administration came, there was even no funding for the whole 8 years of that administration from government. But here is a government who believes that apart from creating a full ministry, as the SSA has said, that there is a need for us to provide certain funding for the industry. But the difference between that one and this one is that this one is part grant and part funding, a funding mechanism that you must pay back. You must give us, you must show that you can be able to pay back. And why are you paying back? Is because
the CEDF.
The CEDF, Creative
okay.
Industry Development Fund, which is a product of this.
How much is in the kitty?
$100 million
USD.
for the first tranche, and then there's another $100 million for the second tranche.
Where's the money coming from?
From Afri-Exim.
Afri-Exim.
Yes, from Afri-Exim. And then you are supposed to apply for them, and then you are supposed to make sure that you have bankable projects, because we just keep, I think Dr. mentioned something about bankable projects. But you just find out that, and the thing is ongoing, applications have closed for the first tranche. Applications have just opened, I think it will open on the 14th, next tomorrow, for the second tranche. They will start assessing the first tranche by the first quarter of 2025. And then they assess the second, 2026. And then they will assess the second tranche for the second quarter of 2026. The difference with this one is that it is more of building infrastructure for the industry. It is not for you to make, you can make films, maybe like 10 or 20% of the funding will go into filmmaking. But it is more about building infrastructure, distribution infrastructure, because whether you like it or not, we have problem with distribution infrastructure in the country. It is also about building studios, production infrastructure in the country. We don't have production lots. We don't have, even sound stages, we don't have in this country. Only few people make efforts, personal effort that is, people like Kunle, Afolayan, and the rest of them make personal efforts to do this. So this fund is for the provision of infrastructure for the industry, and it is not a grant. A lot of people think it's a grant.
Is there a grant component?
Yes, there's a grant component, but it's just about 10 to 20%.
Okay, my question on that will be, given your trajectory in the industry, why is that component of the money, the funding, why is it not able to kickstart the endowment funds that your industry has consistently prayed for more than 20, if not 30, Antijoke, am I right? If not more than, 30 years.
More than 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay, there's plan to set up the endowment fund.
That's a plan.
There's a plan. And that's because the endowment fund that we're talking about is not something that the ministry can handle. It's a thing that Federal Executive Council have to pass so that it can be sustainable. So that whether any government comes in tomorrow, next tomorrow, or whatever, that fund will be there. So
it won't happen in the first time of the minister.
No, it will happen because presently now she's presenting the National Endowment Fund to federal government, and that one will be fully funded by government, especially with tax returns from entertainment tax returns and so many other returns. It will be funded by the tax returns from the entertainment industry.
Okay.
So she has to take it to the National Federal Executive Council for it to be passed so that it can become a policy, so that it can become an institution that it will continue to stay. Not that when you just say, okay, we set up a national endowment fund, and then another government comes into power after the second term, and then they will now say, after the second term of this administration, and then they will now say that, no, this is rubbish, he has to go. This cannot work.
Professor Shaibu, let's go back to the bankers. Dr. Famuyiwa, where is the money, and how can stakeholders approach you, not just for content, because that's also part of what Dr. Nkiru said, not just for content, but also for enduring infrastructure? What are the things that you'll be looking for? Not just if a Kunle Afolayan, I mean, there are creatives here. Alexo is here, for example. What sort of projects will appeal to your bank and First at Heart, for example, if you have to consider supporting the industry?
Thank you very much. I also want to say that this is a new dawn. And I'm saying this because last year, when we started looking into this, we got it right with some sectors like those who are into markets. We were able to disburse about 100 billion to them last year.
Those who are where?
Into the traders.
Oh, okay.
Because we focused on them. And last year...
What sort of loans were those?
Just non-collateralized.
Okay.
No collateral, just give you money, do your business. Because we studied and understood the dynamics of their business. Now, somebody mentioned about producing a film. What if you produce and it didn't sell? To me, honestly speaking, if I look at an industry that we are yet to tap, this is it.
Is the next oil?
I'm telling you the honest truth. And if there's an industry that is giving Nigerians joy, happiness all over the globe, this is the industry.
Okay.
Take this one out, honestly, I don't know what will happen to this nation. So for me as a bank, before I came here, my intention definitely is to come here to learn, listen more, partner with the right people, and then take a deeper dive to understand this business. I am willing to lend to this industry. I'm making this commitment, and I work with Mr. Iyanda to make sure that we can come together and go into partnership to really understand this business very well. For First Bank, we are willing and ready to invest in this business.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Ario, 1.5 billion, am I correct, gone to film. But then I think earlier somebody tried to dimension what creative industry means. Sir, it is not just about film. It is not only Nollywood. Music is there, fashion is there, books, visual arts, digital, media is there, photography is there. Why are you not giving them money? Why is it only Nollywood?
All right, thank you very much, sir. For those who know Providence quite well, we can be called the octopus of the banking industry. And I have the reason for that. We support all the creative arm as far as funding and support is concerned. Even when the water looks murky, we try as much as possible to dip one toe and test it and see if we will sink or not. But essentially, to go deep into what you have said, the 5 billion we're talking about is not even a grant. It's actually a fund allocated by my bank for this particular industry. But the truth is this.
For the creative industry.
For the creative industry. So we are not limited to the filmmakers alone. Yoruba, only any yara logun gbe. In other words, is the person that comes first that I'm going to oblige first. And I will speak.
How is that said in English? The race is for the swift or something like that?
I think something close to that.
Nollywood is swift on it. On his legs.
That will not touch on it the way I would like it to. I probably will leave it to you guys. You do more interpretation. But the truth is this. We are happy to fund, but I think I will also lend an advice. Providence Bank, for instance, I champion it. They call it the non-oil export platform. And then what I see is the fact that there is absence of the creative industry when we want to do this. I see more of the people in the agri space fighting for that space. So at a point, I dragged into it the current Olori, who is into fashion, Oni of Ife's Olori, and she did quite well to project fashion. Then beyond that, I think the music industry is a place we have not really touched on. We spoke about sport, and I look at the way we always watch boxing in Saudi Arabia, and we don't do anything about it in Nigeria. This is the industry we can touch on. And the conversation also dovetailed to the fact that is the creative industry registered with NEPC, Nigeria Export Promotion Council? If yes, how much participation do we do with NEPC? So there is a need for us to also be present in different dimensions of the economy. We should be seen. We should be obvious. If I mention cocoa traders today, and I said there is a funding for them, and absolutely, let's even face it, I want to allocate 5 billion for cocoa traders in Nigeria. A ton of cocoa today is about 14 million naira. So if you are buying 5,000 metric tons of cocoa, it's probably way, way, way more than 5 billion. So again, if we gather ourselves together, give numbers to it. Our business is a business of numbers. I cannot assume figures. I cannot assume projection. It is what you tell me that you are making that will actually allow me to fund the project. Let's assume I'm funding today. My savings and current account cost, or let's say savings account cost can be 8%. But again, the country has an MPR, monetary policy rate of 27%. If you want to place money in the bank today, you are not going to take 8% from me. So I also have fiduciary responsibility to bring money back to the investors. So if I create a niche and make it a cheaper portfolio for the creative industry, let's say I even make it a single digit. I can go to BOI. I can go to Afolayan Bank. I can go to IFC, raise specific funding. But I need to let you give me specific information around this funding. I probably might not know how many days they will sit in my brother's studio in cinema to create it. Perhaps if I go with him, maybe to say now, and see how that place is, I will ask, how many days left in film here? He tells me, oh, so it takes this long. It takes 2 years to produce. That means he doesn't need a 6-month money. He needs perhaps 4 years money before he sells. And again, another concern would be if he sells outside the country, what channel does he use to repatriate his funds to the country? Yes, because the concern of the bank is I need to also assign the proceeds of that payment to myself to be able to repay. So it is not Red Cross. It is a business. And we have to come together to get it done. Thank you.
All right. It is not Red Cross. It is a business. Yemisi, you got that point. It is not Red Cross. It is a business. I'm not asking you to respond to that or to respond to what Dr. Nkiru said earlier about turning creativity into economic powerhouse. With the sort of funding that is coming from both government and banks and the private sector, do you think that we're getting enough to galvanize the industry? I think I can see the special advisor to the Lagos State Governor of Media somewhere. Last year, I'm referencing him because last year, the Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture alone, I'm not talking of other states, I'm not talking of federal, declared that more than 8 billion, am I correct, Boyega, went into the industry in form of support here and there in 2024. Do you think that that's something that the industry can latch on so that the idea, the story around sustainability and viability can begin to, germinate? What are your thoughts and assessments?
So I was telling him, when I think it was Dr. Shoaib that mentioned $100 million or so being available for creatives.
From Afolayan Bank.
From Afolayan Bank. And I whispered to him and said, all I hear is the figures I don't see.
Where's the money?
I don't want to be. I rarely. I cannot see the figures. So.
Dr. Shaibu, somebody whispered audio money. I think you should engage.
I will engage. Okay. I will engage later, but okay. It's a fund that will be assessed from next year. It's not been assessed now. The application for the first quarter for the first tranche just closed, and the assessment, it has been announced publicly that the assessment will be in the first quarter of next year. And I assure you that this is not audio money. This will be assessed, but it will be assessed for projects that are sustainable. They are not. It's not really about productions. It's about putting down distribution infrastructure, production infrastructure, and putting up stuff that will help the industry. Not that it's audio money. No, I can assure you, this is not audio money.
So let me see, what are the steps that you think the industry should begin to consider and take so that we can get on the right track?
So for me, it still goes back to my initial point of putting ourselves in that sellable corner where, the likes of the two docs from Providence Bank and First Bank will not tell us to come and meet them, to have a conversation with them. Their marketers go out to get people to, get loans, open banks and open bank accounts with them and all of that. We need to put ourselves in a position where these guys will come to us. They will come to Kunle Afolayan and say to him, "What are you doing at the film village in Oyo State? How can we be part of it? Do you want us to partner with you? Do you want us to lend you money? Whatever
you think the best approach would be for financial institutions to approach individuals doing well, or to approach the industry?
The industry at large, not individuals. But then we need. I will keep going back to it. We need to be sellable. We need to be approachable. We need to have something they can. We need to make intellectual property very attractive. These folks are used to tangible assets. They are used to tangible collateral. Okay. We need to be able to change their mindset from making intellectual property less attractive as a collateral to being a major big deal, because it's actually a major big deal. Right. Imagine, I'll give one example. Funke Akindele's Jennifer. That's a major intellectual property. That's a major asset. The woman has worked very hard to make it a big deal. If she goes to First Bank or Providence Bank and says, "I need a loan centered around Jennifer," I don't think she will struggle to get that fund.
I think First Bank is in bed with Funke, so
exactly,
isn't
see?
it?
Exactly.
Doing good, doing well. All right.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, Yemisi. Dr. Shaibu, you will have to wait because I don't want Yemi to come running to us. So let's throw it to the before your final closing remarks, which you will start. Let's throw it to the audience, and I will not allow Yemi to dictate the pace. We will pick two from here. Or do I see three hands and then two from there? Ife, we'll start with you and yes, and the other gentleman. Okay.
The gentleman in the glasses. Yes, so let's do according to what you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for sharing gems with us. My question is to the bankers, and let me just read it out to be brief. So, my name is Babatunde Lawal. We talk about films and other creative outputs.
What do you do?
I'm a filmmaker and creative entrepreneur. So, we talk about films and other creative outputs when we talk about the industry. What are the provisions for bodies who would help put the heavily needed structures in place for the industry? For example, like the film tech industries. That model is as much that corporate business model and not unpredictable like the film industry. Dr. Ariyo, for example, do these industries or entities have access to the 5 billion naira fund? If you don't understand the sector, why not fund parastatals that enable the understanding?
Thank you. I should respond to that. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your question. If I understand you correctly, you are talking about the distributaries from the main creative, maybe the support part for the creative industry. The truth is, a bank can fund any business at all. So far is a legitimate and within the aspiration of national growth and development, the bank can fund it. So there is no business at all that cannot be funded, just like I said. The advantage for being in the creative industry is just the fact that the type of capital we are deploying, the ease of access of the capital, the sufficiency of the capital, the cost of the capital will be the advantage of being part of the group. So as far as support is concerned, I can tell you for certain, Providus Bank for once, and don't forget, I'm also speaking for my boss. I work in First Bank for 12 years. So technically, all the banking industry will be able to provide the support that is required. And for certain, before I leave, I'll drop my card with you so that you will testify next year. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ifeoma Morube. I'm a creative entrepreneur. I seek to establish a connection between Yemisi's position and that of Dr. Shuaibu. So I think the critical issue this type of forum should actually attack frontally is, where are the gaps? Where are the holes? There's a lot of money being left on the table. How do we, as an ecosystem, how do we unlock those funding? Because my boss here, Mahmoud Ali Balogun, made a very interesting comment about an hour ago that we've been having these conversations for more than a decade. Every time you sit with the bankers, they tell you they don't understand the industry. When they leave, they do not engage in practical ways that can help them better understand the industry. But I think I think so. So the thing is this: one big mistake we make every time we engage the creative industry, we talk Davido, you hear Funke Akindele. All of this is valid, but that's not the industry. The industry is not about the 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 figures that are doing very well. It's an entire ecosystem. So what are the key challenges? What are the income streams, for example, for a C-class artist, a D-class artist? Where's the funding if the bank deploy funding beyond streaming, for example, how much did the average C-class artist make last year from touring? Where's the touring infrastructure? If they release $100 million and we make films, where are the distribution channels? For the music, where's the money coming from? Collective management. The radio, the TV stations that deploy, this stuff commercially, where is the royalties that are derived from the commercial use of all of this? So the answers are within, the approach should be about the structure and building capacity within the industry to ensure that when the banker puts ₦1 million, there are 4, 5, 6 active income streams that can enable everybody make that money back. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Lagos State. Just a quick one. Lagos State. So that they can take it together. Lagos State, yes.
Who is Lagos State, sir?
his question has already, what he wants to emphasize has already been answered.
That's why he wanted to talk. So why will you be like as if he's begging to talk?
Okay, Eyemi, it's fine. I thought I saw your hand up, Boyega. It's fine. That's cool.
Mr. Koshile, I insist to hear from you, sir. Please, sir. We want to
Mr.
hear from
Koshile,
you.
a lady is asking you to say a word.
Please, sir, we want to hear from you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So that it doesn't end in on the tarmac. Sorry. Yeah, so that we don't have a. We've been told to calm ourselves down. Thank you very much, and sorry about that. Well, I actually raised my hands because of what Dr. Shuaibu said. A passing comment by someone that said audio money. I come from journalism background, and I'm still a journalist. I was telling my friend, my colleague here, that my experience in governance, I consider it as schooling, like I'm in another university, because some of the things that I've learned now, there is no way I would have learned them if I had not gone into governance, and that I'm taking the lesson to my next life, right? So, this money is actually real, right?
Which one?
The money being pledged by different organizations, whether Afri-Exim, the federal government, but it's only the smart ones that get this money. For instance, in Lagos State, that one I know very well. And I know those who know that I know them here, that have accessed the money. You understand? Just last year, the Honorable Commissioner, Mr. Steve Ayoride, no, because we talk about this. Just last year, we spent over 8 billion naira. This money didn't come into my pocket. It went into the pockets of various people in the creative industry. Some of them I know. So, I don't need to name names. And so when you go out there, unfortunately, these people will not tell the world that I collected this money from the state government. And because government doesn't communicate enough, you understand? You can't begin to say, Mr. A, Mr. B, did this. But there are some specific ones that are tied to government that we try to push out. Those ones, may have government faces. But there are a lot of them. From the Nollywood, I'm talking about the Yoruba, the English, Nollywood, and the music industry, up to the Dirty December, up to fashion, even live theater. I know that the live theater, that I personally facilitated, that got part of the fund last year. And it's not small money. So it's very important that we do not deride things, being put forward by the government. It's better for us as creative, because I'm a creative person. And I know that my next life is just around the corner. I'm doing my winding down anyway. So we need to approach them. If we now approach them and they reject us, well, it's a different story entirely. But that the money is not real, it's actually real. Anything that is called appropriation and is been appropriated by the government, the money is locked somewhere. So we must put ourselves together. I was telling her, I said, another thing that we fail to do is, I want to be the only one. Why can't I work with Efe Omoregbe? Because he's a master in this business. I know how to access. He is a creative. I have the idea. He can, so let's, learn to do that. We can leverage on numbers. And by the way, another secret, government respects numbers. You understand? Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Guega. You referenced tarmac. Okay, may I just say that tarmac is also part of the hospitality industry. And, beautiful things can come out of the tarmac. Auntie Joke, before we go to this side. All right. Before we go to the SSA, Auntie Joke, no? All right. We'll go to this side and then we'll come to the SSA. Comrade Alex Oyengo.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks, Steve, for this session. My name is Alex Oyengo. Abiwari boy. Let me start by saying I adopt everything Ife Omorige said as though they were mine. One underlining thing, both in the first session and this one, is the issue of structure and the banks, with us. By next year, I will be 3 decades in this industry. I haven't joined in 1996. We've had this sort of session, engagement with banks, like if he said, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, you keep saying you don't understand the structure. When will I go understand them? You are bankers. If you really want to understand the industry, assuming without conceding that you do not understand, you are bankers. You have first class in statistics. Ibadan. So you know what to do. Engage a consultant. You can even engage consultants from the industry, like Mahmoud Ali Balogun, Fidelis Duka. They will guide you. I suspect very strongly that you understand the industry more than we do. But you just don't want to put money yet. I don't know why. On the issue of structure, there are 2 legs to structures in the industry. This because you need to be continually informed, educated, and even entertained. There are 2 legs to structures in Nollywood. The individual structures. That's the various companies. Maybe companies like the one owned by Kunle Afolayan, Mahmoud Ali Balogun, Fidelis. You understand? It is their personal responsibilities as producer to get properly structured, which most of them are doing. The second structure is the industry, which you, the bankers, are not relating with, the guilds and associations for now. That is the industry. That is the structure. That is, I'm not saying you do business, association will not come and collect loan, maybe, but in terms of advocacy, capacity building, information and education, it is the guilds and association that you must and you should engage. And they can also stand as a way of guarantor that, okay, we know this person is our member. You understand? So you must begin to work with the guilds and association. There are so many of them now, I must confess, but I know we are working towards a destination which is the Motion Picture Council of Nigeria, MOPICON.
We won't go there today.
By that time, I say we are working towards it. When we get to that destination, I believe when we get to MOPICON destination, banks, you will no longer have that excuse that I've been hearing 30 years ago, 20 years ago, that you don't understand the industry. Okay. Then you will understand better.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, comrades.
So please, can I implore you, sir, to please, 1 minute. I can count. Thank you.
I want to differ with everybody so far. Structure. My name is Fidelis Duka. I'm just a common filmmaker, just trying to survive. And a broadcaster. Everybody has said structure, and I differ. There are structures in the industry. The problem is infrastructure, and that was what, when I was coming here, I missed all the sessions, but I followed it through. Why? Tech. I was online, and I listened to Dr. Balonwu, to Dr. Ufot. I listened to everybody on the first panel. The challenge, and if you listen to Kunle Afolayan, it started and stopped somewhere. The issue of infrastructure. And that's why you will compare Davido and film. Music, I can listen to my music 100 times in my car without even the basic power. We have a challenge of power, we have a challenge of roads, we
We have a challenge of even when the so-called Netflix left, they didn't leave. They only remodeled their business because they were not making profit. This is a country that has 250 million people. Less than 165,000 are subscribed to Netflix. While in South Africa, with a lesser population, they have over 2.5 million on that platform. Why invest in a place where less than 165,000 people are subscribed? These are the issues. The banks, to you, Mr. Banker, the bankers, like he said, you guys understand this. As far back as 2007, the banks were funding. As far back as 1986, Basala was funded. So the banks understand what's happening. The issue, we must solve our national issue first. That's why I commend the government now. They are very concerned about the power sector. Until the power sector works, even if you build 200 cinemas and there's no light, will you power with diesel? Go and ask the cinemas how much they are paying to run those cinemas. 2 people in the cinema and it's an empty cinema, you have to power the place 24 hours. Even us in broadcasting, we run a radio show for 24 hours and we have no light, we have no adverts. Why? Because you are running on diesel. So we must solve our national problem first. When we solve those problems, these billions and trillions we are looking for will come to play. The countries you mentioned South Korea in our presentation. South Korea has 100% power. I went to China last year. It was an eye-opener for me in China. I took a trip from like Lagos to Kano, and it took me 4 hours on the bullet train. And I came back same day. These are issues. We need to solve our infrastructural problem. It's not even a structure problem. This issue of structure is an excuse to just hide. We need to solve that. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So very quickly, SSA to the president. We'll have the last mic there.
And apologies to those who need to go. Like I said, I take the blame.
On the issue of funding and what our dear sister said, and the side comment about audio money from government, I want to reinforce what Boyega said. Truly, the funding from government is not audio money, especially from federal government. Dr. Shuaibu spoke about the $100 million from Afrexim Bank. There's another $600 million, IDICE, which is investment in digital and creative enterprise. That the process of assessing that fund started in the last 2 years of Buhari administration, and it was midwifed by Professor, Office of the Vice President then, Professor Osibajo. Now, because they are multilateral and development institutions funding, the process of assessing this money in terms of meeting their conditions could take some time. The $600 million from IDAS fund is coming from Islamic Development Bank, AFDB, French International Development Agency. So from those 3 institutions, they are putting together $600 million. I know as of today, the federal government has signed the sovereign guarantee to make sure that the money gets in country. And as of today, because I spoke with the national coordinator of IDICE just this morning on my way to this event to know how far, because I always push him, where are we with this funding? The industry people are saying they cannot see the money. And he gave me all the details. As of today, AFDB has approved like 10 projects from the fund. $300 million of the component is coming from AFDB. Islamic Development Bank is bringing $100 million. French International Development Agency is bringing $100 million. Then Bank of Industry is bringing $100 million. So that makes the 600 million. Okay. So as of today, I know they are waiting for a no objection from AFDB on the about 10 projects that AFDB Board of Governors had approved. Okay. So this thing takes time, and they are not audio money. From first quarter next year, you begin to see the money. And those who are prepared for the opportunities will be able to access. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tokwe Ajayi, SSA to the President. It says it is not audio, it is renewed hope. So We really have to go, but Dr. Dr. Ariyo, we just have 10 seconds to speak for the panel while we round off everything.
All right.
I promise, Dr. Shaibu.
All right, thank you so very much. Just a bit of peeping into a few comments that I have around infrastructure. Infrastructure, common denominator for all and all of us in the country. Unfortunately, as it affects me, it affects every other person. But again, we cannot also shy away from that fact. And the fact remains that as a bank, we are happy and also ready to provide support for this entity. And also, the good part is, please, with or without sponsorship, I think each should invite banks to, even if it is a cocktail discussion you want to have. Understanding anything in life is a journey. You remember our knowledge of physics those days, understanding basic physics. Concerned, the policies change, the movement change. So we'll also want to change with you. But again, you have our support from all the sides. Funding or funding support will provide as far as the banking sector is concerned. Thank you and have a good one.
Okay, mine will be to take from what our keynoter had said. She made a proposition there, and I think Edgar said something about that, and a few people on the panel said something about that. And that's the fact that as creatives, we lack what it takes to access monies from these guys. We need to have a special purpose mechanism, vehicle, that can be the go-between us and the financial industry. You can't be making film. For instance, I don't know how he has the energy to do it. You can't be shooting at Ikeja, and then you are meeting up with a bank manager to talk about financing, you know. But if you have an investment, like, I don't know what to call it, whether, like we have legal practitioners who are between them and artists. If you have people who are film financing experts, if we have those kind of people, there can be an interface between us and the industry. The reason why they will give us money and they are struggling to get it back is because we want to do it and we don't have the capacity to do it. I'm aware of the funds from Providence Bank because it was one that I thought would help my industry. But like you said, it's sweet and sour, and that's because the man who is accessing the money does not have financial management capability. He just knows how to make production. His own is, I see the money, I give it to here, I give it to here, and I do that, and all that. And we need that vehicle, please. Let's set up that structure. People can come in, we build capacity, and have film financing experts so that they can help us raise the money, and they will be in charge of taking care of the risk that is involved in the money. Thank you so much.
All right, and on that note, First Bank too.
Last comment from me.
Okay. Please make it very short.
Yes,
very, very
actually
short.
very short. Thank you, Mr. Iyanda, for this gathering. We have spoken. It's time for action. We are ready. Are you ready? We are ready. Thank you.
All right, I'm sure Yemisi has blown a kiss just to say everything is fine. Fantastic. Yemi, over to you.
Thank you.
So
Mr.
much,
Iyanda,
guys.
please, can we take a photo with the panelists? So please rise and step forward, please. Thank you. You can leave the microphones on the chair. I'll pick them up after. Thank you. While they're taking the photos, we'd like to go on straight to the next item on the agenda, and which is the presentation of plaques. Chairman, sir, could you please join us? Dr. Balonwu has left. Thank you. SSA, sir, please join us for the photos. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Mrs. Maureen Chibo, this GOCOP, GOCOP President, please. You are going to present the first set of awards or plaques. Chairman, sir, please stay on the stage. Thank you, sir. Dr. Famuyiwa, please stay on the stage. Thank you, sir. All right. Mrs. Maureen Chigbo? Is she still here? All right. Yeah, still there. Hold on, let her go on. Are you okay? Yeah, all right. You're welcome, ma'am. All right, so we're presenting plaques to the chairman of the occasion, Mr. Udeme Ufot, I beg your pardon, MFR. Where's the plaque for the chairman? Can we have the plaque for Dr. Abiodun Famuyiwa also ready? Please go up stage. Ladies. Apologies, please. I profusely apologize for keeping you waiting. That's not Dr. Udeme effort, sir. But you... Okay. Oh, yeah, the next one. For Dr. Abiodun Famuyiwa. Who has... Since Dr. Aria is on stage, we're also going to present to him while he's here. Auntie Joke, please, you're going to help us with the next set of presentations. Have we found? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so Auntie Joka is going to present to Dr. Shuaibu Husseini and Miss Mary Ephraim Egbas. Sir? And also Mr. Mike Dada. Mr. Mike Dada, are you still in the hall? Miss Mary, are you still in the hall? Miss Mary is coming, so Mike Dada, give Mike Dada while Miss Mary. No, Mr. No. Dr. Shuaibu Husseini, Mr. Mike Dada, and Miss Mary Ephraim Egbas. She's still here. Yes, thank you, ma'am. Mike Dada. Okay. Miss Mary. Is presenting. Mr. Mike Dada, one more. Ms. Funke Egbemode, can you please, the former Osun State Commissioner of Information and Orientation, to please present the next set of awards? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Do you want me to help you or fine? All right, thank you, ma'am. May we have Mr. Kunle Afolayan, Joseph Edgar, and Yemisi Falaye to receive their plaques, please. Mr. Edgar is no longer in the hall. Oh, he's here. He's okay. Fantastic. Joseph Edgar, the Duke of Shomolu. Sorry. Nashubo. Miss Falaye. One more person. Mr. Eze Anaba, please get ready. The NGE president, please get ready to present the last set of awards. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Eze Anaba. Is Mr. Eze still in the hall? He's here? All right, sir. So the next set of plaques are going to Mr. Steve Ayorinde. Oh, yes. Sir, are you? Okay. You're very agile, sir. Funke Treasure. Funke Treasure. To my utmost shock, I'm receiving a plaque. So I shall mount the stage as myself. So we're done. We'll do the vote of thanks now. And then we can go to lunch. But the ushers will direct us for lunch, please. Photo. Just a minute, please. Please, may I crave your indulgence one last time as you're having conversations. Excuse me. No, sir, it's inside, sir. As you're having conversations, we're done. Can we listen to the vote of thanks from Moturayo Iyanda? And after that, lunch is served, but the ushers will come and get you from your tables, please. Moturayo Iyanda, member of the planning committee.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. I'm going to give a little disclaimer beforehand, so I'm trying not to waste anyone's time, but I have to hold my phone so that I can give respect to all that is due. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
Please, can we keep our voices down? Please. Let's just get this over, and you can shout all over lunch. Please, we're done. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I express a big thank you on behalf of the organizers for making the QEDNG Creative Powerhouse Summit a big success. Today, we have witnessed an inspiring convergence of great minds, creative industry leaders, policy shapers, finance champions, and investment visionaries coming together to learn how financing can actually be the catalyst for building a successful creative economy in Nigeria. Firstly, we have to acknowledge the presence of the Nigerian presidency, ably represented by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Temitope Ajayi. Please give him a round of applause. We deeply appreciate you, sir, for taking the time to be here with us and lending your presence to this important event. To our sponsors, First Bank, Providence Bank, Nigeria LNG Limited, Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, and Polaris Bank. We are deeply grateful for your support. Your support to the creative economy has been a shining light. Our chairman, Mr. Udeme Ufot, MFR, we appreciate you for your leadership and for all the knowledge you've been able to share with us today. To our keynote speaker, Dr. Nkiru Balonwu, for leading the conversations that will shape our industry's future. Thank you very much. Our fantastic panelists, Mr. Kunle Afolayan, OON, Mr. Joseph Edgar, Mr. Mike Dada, Ms. Mary Ephraim Egbas, Mr. Abiodun Ario, Dr. Abiodun Famuyiwa, Dr. Shaibu Husseini, and Ms. Yemisi Falaye. Thank you so much for your contributions. To our moderators, Mr. Steve Ayorinde and Ms. Anike-Ade Funke Akitoye, for steering the conversation so aimlessly. And to our gracious host, Eyemi Olivia Rogmi, who kept the momentum. We appreciate you gratefully. We also appreciate our media partners for their partnership as well as their captivating visuals and creative coverage, which have helped make this event a reality and its implications extend far beyond this hall. And finally, to our guests, the ones who made this event possible in the first place, we say a big thank you. Your presence today has added immense value to the discussions, and your commitment to the Nigeria's creative economy development is greatly valued. Without your attendance, this summit couldn't even have taken place, talk less of be a success on its own. So as we leave here today, I urge, we the organizers, urge each and every one of us to take the energy, the concepts, and the connections that have been established here in this hall with the understanding that together we can transform the creativity into lasting prosperity. We hope to see you at the second edition next year, and we hope that you watch out for the dates. At this note, I say a big thank you once again to everyone, and I wish you all a safe journey home. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, as a last point of call, I'd like to thank our sponsors, First Bank, Providence Bank, NNLG, Shell, and Polaris Bank. The first ever QEDNG Creative Powerhouse Summit has come to an end. The theme was Financing as a Catalyst for a Thriving Creative Economy. Innovate, Connect, Transform. My name is Eyemi Olivia Robinyi, and I've been your host. Have a good afternoon. The ushers will come to your table to lead you to the lunch buffet. Thank you very much. Oh, and please feel free to talk as much as you want now.